Welcome
Bang!
to the Jocular Spectacular, where we jocularly talk about spectacular things.
That was beautiful.
Today, we're going kayfabe names, because this is a serious topic,
Yes.
so we're going to be... Look, this is a serious topic, but we're still going to be our silly selves, and, like, as subjects of that topic, there's humor to be found there, and we're going to joke about it, we're going to be ourselves, and it's just going to be good times. My name is Piccolo, a.k.a. Walter Mellon, a.k.a. Middle Class the Rapper. My pronouns are we/king. You honkies bow down and kiss the ring.
Oh, Lord! That got real violent after
All right,
this.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Carlos. Usually go by Brown Senpai or just Senpai. My pronouns are do not refer to me, or rather you don't talk to me. Don't have a rapper name yet, but if I were to ever make a musical outfit of some sort, because I like drone music, it'd probably be like Quixote or something. Because I find that guy pretty cool.
My name is Mike Reed, a.k.a. Mike, a.k.a. 2Meg2108. I usually go by any name anyway when we're doing the podcast. Yeah. But this time, that's my name. My pronouns are yeet, y'all. So if you see me in these streets, I'm going to be yeeting and yawing. And then my rapper name, that's it.
That's it.
Silence.
Time.
Yeah.
So you always think about me.
So let's. I got a joke for us.
Hit us with it.
An Asian, a Mexican, and a black walk into a bar.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They get kicked out for being non-white Northerners, because this is Texas, y'all. And that joke is based on a true story. I had two friends. They're gun enthusiasts. One of them is Pakistani, the other one Chinese, and one of them was visiting the other who lived in Texas. Mm-hmm. They went to the gun range, and they were asked to leave because they were non-white Northerners.
Wow.
Yeah.
But the two of them were from Texas, though. Or
one of them was living there.
That should be enough.
And the other one he lives in Arizona. And
that's the same.
You know.
That's what we're here to talk about.
That's what we're here to talk about. The spectacular thing we're talking about is race.
Yes.
We're going to bring to you the best goddamn race podcast, period.
Yeah. Find us on NASCAR's podcast, F1's podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know what other races there are.
Race podcast.
Sponsored by Ben Shapiro. But I'm excited to do this. We've been talking about this for months.
Because whenever we get together, it always comes up because we got skin in the game, baby. We got skin in the game.
Literally.
It's something that affects all three of us here. So
yeah. And an everyday thing, whenever we wake up, whenever we go to bed, sometimes when we're falling asleep, it still affects us.
Just like,
oh, definitely.
I'm not white? Oh, okay. I got it.
Just go back.
Dude, I actually I kind of had a dream like that where I dreamed about running away from the law.
I had a really weird dream where, like, I was working, like, construction, like, house fitting, but, like, I was the only, like, Mexican in the dream. Everybody else was black, and, like, I was just doing my shit. And, like, this older, like, black guy just comes over. It's like, boy, like, who are your favorite black artists? I just blanked out. I completely forgot every single black artist I listened to. Dang. In my dream, I was just like, what the fuck is this dream about?
Oh, my God.
Well, since this is Chicago, you have to say yay, and then Chance, and then BJ the Chicago Kid.
Or say Chief Keef to show how real you really are.
Okay, yeah. See, I'm from the suburbs, so number one option is yay, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Or add comment in there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The artist formerly known as Kanye.
Right.
I might say,
the artist currently known as Donda's son.
I might say it's actually probably Sun Ra, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so what was your guys' first time experiencing or realizing, race is a thing?
I have a double whammy because not only am I not white, I'm also an immigrant as well.
Yeah.
So I got that one going on. So my first experience with race was when I moved to the United States.
As soon as you got here. As soon as you got here.
Because I barely spoke English. So like,
really?
Yeah. So people were always like very accommodating to me, but it led me into being into special ed classes.
Oh.
Where it was just like, I just
because you couldn't speak to... Oh, that's
I
weird.
understood it 100%, no issues. Because I grew up playing a lot of, like, RPGs.
Okay.
So, like, I don't know what this word means, so I was bust out the English-Spanish lectionary and just tried to read it. So that was my first experience when it came to, like, being an immigrant, when it came to race. Really,
it was day 2.
It was, like, we went to Walmart.
Oh.
We went to Walmart. And
Walmart.
And I had, like, some money that my mom gave me, so, I bought I forgot what I bought. It was something small, so I bought it. I didn't need a bag, so I put the paper on my pocket, back pocket, and some lady came and was like, it's like, hey, like, what do you put in your back pocket?
Really?
Like, right away.
Wow,
like, I just
on that.
When I have my white friends with me.
Oh, that's
because it's Nebraska, I only have white friends.
Right.
So, we all did the same thing. I was the only one that got asked, like, hey, like, what do you put in your back pocket?
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
Was that here in Chicago?
Nebraska.
Oh.
When I was like 14 or something like that.
I didn't know you started your life in America, Nebraska.
That's
yeah, crazy.
There's work there.
That's like, yeah. Okay.
So, like, what do we immigrants do? Work. So.
Yeah. I'm like, Nebraska's something else, man.
Yeah, I mean, super small town. So, like, a lot of my, like, race experiences were, like, small, like, Midwestern, hickish town.
Yeah.
Like, I lived in that trailer court for, like, a good amount, so.
Dude, just thinking about Nebraska. I'm like, my sister went to Creighton, in, Omaha, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not much, right?
Right. Yeah. Not much. Like legit. Me and my cousin went there to party just to do their club was their downtown something else. It's some
like Omaha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Old Market. Old Market. There's
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only cool place is this like an antique store that's just full of like really cool things and homers. And that's just a record store.
Yeah, like, dude. Like, we went there, and we just lied. We were like, oh, we play Division I football. Yeah. And they believed it. They were like, okay, they look like they're in enough shape, but sure.
Yeah. They got those fast twitch muscle fibers, right?
And, dude, they were so nice after we said that. Like, one of the guys, like, gave us, like, after, like, party food. Like, he took us to this burger place, and we ate on his dime. It was real cool. The dude was really nice. I was like, I'm not sure if this guy's really nice or if Nebraska's like this.
Nebraskan are just nice people.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, you know, how life is.
When I went to visit like a couple holidays ago for 4th of July, this was back when I drank. So I had like my 6-pack in the front lawn with my brother, with my friends, my girlfriend at the time. We were just drinking. Just from like it was nothing. Cop comes over. She of course like hides the thing. She hides everything. She hides away. I used to like, hey, how's it going? It's like, hey guys, having fun. It's like, yeah, okay. We'll just make sure that beer doesn't leave the lawn, and we're good. It's like, okay. We just light a fire truck in front of them. Dude. Yeah, Nebraska people are good people.
Yeah, like they're really nice. It's just like it's such a small town that I couldn't get used to.
There's nothing.
Yeah, it's like nothing to do. And
even then Omaha, that's the big city.
Yeah. I'm like, I can't imagine going to literally any other spot. I went to their biggest spot and I felt like that.
There's Nebraska, what is it? The town I lived at, Columbus.
Okay.
Our downtown is like 6 bars. Next to each other, and like it's 6 bars and
easy pub
like,
crawl.
Well, there's only like 1 bar worth of them.
How is it just one? They should all like be in competition. They should all like be like
you figure, leveled. But you got to Misex.
Okay,
that's the place.
Oh my god,
you go to Misex to drink, and that's it.
Dude, I will say this to continue on with your question.
Yeah,
the one thing I didn't like about Nebraska. Their food was so salty. Yeah. I was like, dude, if you guys want to be the stereotype about middle of America white people, they're doing it real well. Because, bro, their food was salty. The only thing I could eat without getting like a headache was their steak burgers. The thing they're like known for their steaks. Those were fire. Yeah. But anything else I could not eat because it was like, this is too much salt.
Hey guys, there's other seasonings.
Right? I'm like, I know I'm black and black people love their salt and they shouldn't. But dag, man,
Yeah,
holy crap.
The catfish from that one place was the saltiest thing I've ever in my whole life.
Yeah, we had, I think that was Harold's or Captain Hook's.
Captain Hook's.
Yeah, it was
Captain Hook's.
Yeah,
Harold's was fine.
Yeah, Harold's was
Captain
cool,
Hook's
yeah.
was
Captain Hook's, man.
rough.
Man.
It was rough.
And black people, when we do that, we should be ashamed because that's only because the food's not as fresh as it should be. So they salt it up so they can sell it. And like when it's that salty, it's like, oh. But it could get worse than that. That's the crazy part. If it was worse, I would have been like, we got to get a refund.
Speaking of black people.
Yes.
When did you first realize you were a black person?
Yeah. Oh my God, man. It probably goes back to like kindergarten or first grade or something. Yeah. How old were you when you came here?
14.
Okay, so you were 14.
Because the thing is like I grew up in Mexico, so it's
Right.
like
Okay.
So
like
other Mexicans.
Right.
the thing is like they're not black, they're Mexican. Oh, they're
Right.
not Asian, they're Mexican. Whatever. Like,
Which is crazy because in Mexico, I do know like there's black, white, Asian. Everybody speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
That's why I don't get like. It seems like only America has that problem.
a lot of places have that problem, but the thing is, it's like
white countries.
Yeah. The big problem that America has is like the colonialism is brought in different races.
Right.
A lot of people's colonialism, a lot of like different like countries' colonialism is only like one race.
Okay.
It's like when America colonized, like, hey, like we don't want to work, we're not bringing black people.
Right.
We extinguish the Native Americans. We're by Mexico, so we're gonna like be at war with them.
Right.
And
Take
nobody
that
wants to
land,
build. Nobody wants to build the railroad, so we get some Asian people over here.
Okay. Right.
So I love the colonialism. It from America comes in from bringing other races.
Right, getting other people.
Bringing
Can
other
you work
people
for
to
us,
come in
please?
to do the work and then resent them for it.
Right, it's like, how dare you stay? We don't need you anymore. But yeah, to answer your question, like, man, I feel so bad because yours is 14 and mine is like 6.
Yeah.
Because I like legit, like, just growing up, you just know, like, when watching TV, people look different from you. Your toys look different. I watched a lot of anime even then. Like Dragon Ball Z characters aren't black.
No.
There's Papo.
Yeah.
That's-
yeah.
And I even think of him as black. That's the crazy part too. Like in a black child's mind, I don't think of him as black. I think of him like an alien creature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, Mexico still like goes through the stereotype. One of the best-selling like comic books that you can buy in Mexico. This is probably old data because I haven't lived in Mexico forever.
Right.
It's this character called Memín Penguin, which is just straight up a I forgot the name of the stereotype. Dark skin, big lip.
Yeah.
With
not blackface. There's an actual term.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the.
it's like the mammy.
It's based
look.
based off of the.
But I know what you're.
It's
talking
based
about.
off of the like the minstrel show characters.
Yeah.
Minstrel. Is that no? That's
Minstrel
not
is
that
the type
specific
of
term.
is the type of theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is gonna kill me.
But
But
yeah,
I know what you're talking
But
about.
one of the more like or most famous original like Mexican characters, it is just a
That's
black
crazy.
stereotype.
Oh, in Japan they have. I think it's Japan. They have like a or no. It's China. They have like a toothpaste brand where the logo is just that kind of face, and then like the white shiny teeth.
Woo. And I
Well,
know,
you get that contrast, so
Yeah.
you gotta have
it.
you gotta have the black face,
And I
so the
know,
white teeth pop.
Netherlands, they have something like that too.
The black Tom, no, the black.
The Christmas guy.
Yeah, where
because
he
they're
has
just full
this-
of ash.
Right,
Yeah, so-
and he's like super popular too.
Yeah.
And that makes me think like, how is that happening in these places that don't have black people like that? Like,
Well, because they don't have black people. They don't
They-
have that. They don't have that cultural exchange to learn
which is crazy.
those things. Which
The crazy thing is also like I love people like Pacific Islanders, black people,
Right.
other like different races and ethnic groups. You know, those people got used to get put in zoos to be like, hey, like we don't know what you are. We're gonna put you in a zoo and figure you out.
Yeah.
was there like a specific incident where you kind of realized, or it was a slow discovery of just like, oh, the media doesn't represent me at all.
I think it was more of a slow discovery because, like, you know, growing up in it, where it's just like, oh, well, they don't look like me, so that's just how it is. They don't look like me. You know, like, but I still like the character. I still like Goku. I still like Ash Ketchum. I still like all of these different characters. I like Ed, Edd and Eddy. Like, because I grew up watching Cartoon Network, I can't think of any, like, black characters.
Aside from Static Shock.
Right, other than Static Shock. That's a very good point. Other than him, that's the only one I can think of, like, off the top where it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. He looks like me. And then it's even more factors where we'll get deeper to this into the show. Yeah. It's more factors like, well, he's our dark-skinned guy. So, like, I can't really still kind of put my, like, oh, he looks directly like me. Because I don't have dreads. I have curly hair. I'm like, I'm not that dark. I'm a little lighter than that. So
I was listening to another podcast where they were talking about race, and it was a weird, very American thing where, like, Americans tend to think, like, yeah, the universe revolves around America.
Yeah.
They were talking about, like, Dragon Ball Z specifically in representation, and they were talking about how there's no minorities in Dragon Ball Z, and it's just like, wait, why are you assuming the characters in Dragon Ball Z are white?
Right. That's another thing.
Like, what are you, like... What are you guys doing?
They're
you two, like,
they're aliens.
Yeah,
they're
aliens. But like, why are you assuming Krillin is like a martial arts
like
monk?
Japanese or Chinese?
Like Krillin will be Chinese.
Why are you assuming like Krillin's white? Why are you assuming Goku's white? Why are you assuming like the characters in Fire Emblem are white? Like, sure, because it's medieval, but it's like
all of those because the media has always
exactly like, oh, this is reflecting us, but like, no,
no.
Gohan's like, Chi-Chi's probably Chinese or Japanese. It's based off Journey to the West, so like this weird assumption of just like no,
I'm
it's
sorry.
not.
I'm sorry to tell you that the character Usagi is not white.
Yeah, like thinking like a lot of weird discourse of just like, why are you assuming those anime characters are white? You like the Japanese characters are making them like they're not nondescript really, but like, why would you assume they're not Japanese?
Right.
Yeah, but to get back to my thing, just
when was your first time where it's like, hold on now.
You guys have a different experience than me because have you always like grown up and lived in black neighborhoods?
Yeah, majority of the time.
Yeah, and then you were living in Mexico.
I lived in Mexico, but then I lived in mostly like white neighborhoods.
Yeah, but because you had those early experiences of just like people around you being the same, and then you discovering through media. Like, whereas me, I'm a brown guy. My entire life I've lived in white suburbs.
Like yours is going to be even crazier than ours. Yeah,
where
you've never been the home team.
Yeah, which like before preschool and all that, I was always around like other family members who were Filipino as well. But then when you go to school, it's like everybody else is
looks so much different.
Yeah, and then like they're making the same observation that I'm not the same as them.
Right.
It's really
this cat's a rascal.
But
then but then I also had a different experience where early in life like the first major experience of me feeling different was in kindergarten.
Oh, same time.
Me, my brother, and my mom went to the Philippines and lived there for like 3 months because my grandmother was on her deathbed, whatever.
Okay.
So like the first time realizing like being different is just like, oh, the locals are giving me and my brother shit for like oh, you're fucking Americans. Like,
oh god,
you're not us.
You're not Filipino. You're
like
American.
Yeah, you're American.
It's like that whole like,
when you're an American,
and that's why like a major thing we need to stress with race, because a lot of it is like the whole world makes divisions. The whole world that there's race issues and other ethnic conflicts and whatnot, but just like. Those are the first one that really hit me of just like my brother got into like some fights as a kid, and he won
at home
or no like going to school because we went to the school because it's like 3 months.
Okay. Also over the school and the Philippines.
Yeah, like on the bus ride and shit.
Wow.
Man. But like. Yeah.
That's crazy.
We're Americans. We get better nutrition.
It's really funny.
Though?
It's really funny because I got to talking about race with my girlfriend, and my girlfriend is Chinese. They had a very similar experience whenever they visit China, and they looked at them weird because they're taller.
Yeah,
like
it's
she is
thing.
For all intents purposes, she's not a normal Chinese height. She is like 5'9", 5'8", 5'9". she's
tall
tall.
for like a woman,
Yeah.
just generally.
So like they similar situation. It's like, oh, you're not really Chinese, you're American. And it's like, bro.
Yeah, but that's crazy to me that you find that out going to like the motherland.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny?
You're
That
finding out you're different, and then like coming back in that first grade, just being
and
like,
then they remind you.
yeah,
too.
Some kids are just like,
Nah, bro, you an
Yeah.
American
Yeah.
now, cuz.
like that's Poo Poo Paulo.
Right, exactly.
It's like, you know, yeah, it's weird discovery of just like, oh, I'm not the
Right.
same. I am different.
I had a really backwards thought about that because you just remind me of this really weird memory. During kindergarten, my younger brother was friends with this like Chinese girl in Mexico.
Right.
Her family were from China. I think she was born in Mexico, but her family, like, she was first generation.
Okay.
And they kept calling her Chinese girl. It was like, oh, well, no, she's Mexican. At the end of the day,
Right.
she's Mexican. It's like, well, and I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, but her parents are from China. It's like, no, she's Mexican.
Yeah, she's Mexican.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. I'm Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Just because, like, throughout all of grade school, just people were like, he's not Chinese. Mexican, maybe? He's not. Well, we have Mexicans in our town. I don't know what Mexicans look like. But he's like Mexican, but not quite. I've seen West Side Story. He's Puerto Rican.
You know, Puerto Rican is always
You're
the
that
go-to.
special edition Asian.
Yeah, exactly. It's like through most of my life, people have thought I would. Because, like, people didn't know until, like, the past decade of what Filipinos were publicly. So it's like, I know he's not Chinese. I know he's not Mexican. So I either
Manny
got,
for
yeah.
that one.
Here's a fun...
Exactly. I got, like, the next topic we'll go into, we'll get into this, but like, I gotta thank Manny Pacquiao for that.
Yeah,
I was going to
like
ask
that,
you, like, what would be, like, the reference...
Yeah.
What was the
was
Filipino reference point?
Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, that's
baby.
why like you gotta thank Manny.
Like one of the greatest boxers ever, but
Yeah, he's gonna totally become president. Then.
yeah.
As soon as
One can hope.
He's gonna get.
But yeah, just like through most of my life, just being misidentified, which is like a like I don't give a shit because my main thing is also with my name Paulo, it's
A very Spanish name.
it's Italian, and like being an
you're right.
Asian with an Italian name, people are just confused as shit. So
They're
it's
already
been
confused.
So like I've never really cared. I've always been misidentified my entire life, but like I don't care as long as I know you're identifying me and we could have a conversation and dialogue and get shit done.
Instead of just avoiding it, going
Yeah,
around
just-
the thing.
Yeah, for like the first week at my new gig, everybody thought my name was Pablo,
Oh God!
and it was just like, yeah,
You
whatever.
don't even have a
Yeah, it was just like
B.
whatever, man.
I had
Until
a,
somebody was like, "Is your name Paulo or Pablo?" I've heard you referred to both. It's Paulo. Like I don't
Just
care. I
Paulo,
don't give a
yeah.
shit. Like yeah, we're having a fun time shooting the shit, and we're coordinating work. I
So-
don't give a shit, man.
I have a fun situation when it comes to that. My great grandparents were from Spain. Like they came over, like
España.
they came over in the ships. My grandfather used to be like a tall, like
Yeah,
6 something,
which is why you're
blue-eyed,
not short
blonde
and
hair.
dark.
Right.
Like-
Because of my mom.
Like,
Right.
like native Filipinos, native Mexicans, short and dark.
5'5",
sure and dark.
5'5".
Yeah, my like
That's the highest we go.
Yeah.
like
My
we have
dad,
the,
my dad is one of those. My dad is a short, like 5'5", darker
He's a-
skin Mexican man.
Yeah, he's an average.
you gotta thank
Mexican.
the conquistadors for our lighter hue and height.
But that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
my great grandfathers were like tall,
Yeah, me too.
blue-eyed.
What?
Oh, you're not leaving it hanging?
What? Oh, that's I didn't know.
That's a hate crime right there.
That's totally part of it now.
But no, yeah, my great grandparents were like tall, blue-eyed, blonde hair. My grandfather was that, and he
Right.
was half. My mom makes her a quarter. She's a tall, like almost strawberry blondish like lady, and I came out this way, very light skin, very Eurocentric features.
Right.
And on top of that, I can draw a beard, which is not very apparent in all of like Mexicans in general.
Or
Like,
black
if-
people.
yeah.
That's
So like I
true.
have like a high cheek beard. I get confused a lot of times with non-Mexican. I get misidentified a lot.
Oh, I can totally.
To the
see that.
point where sometimes I find it fun at this point because people like it's always the question of
I tried to block the cat, and it ruined everything. All right,
hey, we're back.
technical difficulties. So you were saying,
I will
Sea-Dog?
every so often I will get like the Sanctified just because I have like very Eurocentric like features, but they're like not really pinpoint just because my dad is a little more like what you call it a classic Mexican looks like.
Right.
So I have like a nice mixture of both. So it's always like fun asking. It's like because I will get those people that are like no, not scared. It's like hey, where are you from? It's like well, where do you think I'm from? Yeah. I will get some form of European, Argentinian. Spain. I've gone Spanish. I've gone like French. I've gone Israeli before, Turkish, Argentinian, Italian. But the big one I used to have back when I had a huge beard was like, oh, you're Arab, right? It's like no.
You got that skin tone of an Arab.
Don't you have to be a little darker?
To the point.
No, some of them are light.
Mediterranean people are like I love them. They have that olive skin that I turn to whenever I get tanned.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
To the point where like I will get randomly selected a lot. Whenever I had to take the plane, the pre-screen and stuff like that.
Up.
So like
I've
noticed a lot of times. Well, that's the thing. The person that checks you in is not the person who's gonna be touching your butt. Yeah, it's like check ID, cool, you're good. It's like we'll go. Let's touch that butt. Make sure there's no bumps, except from this bum as dick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've noticed as soon as I start shaving more and just keep it like this small, I don't get randomly selected anymore.
That's so messed up,
See,
man.
I got a similar thing with you. I'm technically a quarter white because I have a great grandparents on my mom's side and great grandparent on my dad's side. So 2/8 equals 1/4 white. But that's something a minority can't do. Is just
right. Here's my white part.
No matter how white you are, like. You can't choose that. Whereas, like, a white person can have a little more flexibility of just, like, I'm German. I identify as mostly German. Dude. Whereas, like, Barry-O is half white. He grew up with his white family.
Right.
Dude does not... He's getting called a hard R throughout his life. Like, and but then
I think that's a big one that I think is going to be coming down later. One of the topics we're going to be talking about is just like identity is one of the biggest things. Yeah. So it's like a lot of white people are able to call out like, oh, you're this, you're that, just because of features, cultures, whatever you signify.
How they feel about you.
Like, where are you? Like, what do they do? What would they add? Well, you know, like, I'm American, but what is America anyways? Yeah. Like, aside from Native American, you don't really have anything.
No.
Also, like, a major thing with being pigeonholed in an identity and a race, ethnicity. Like, a prime example is Tiger Woods. Where Tiger Woods, he identifies himself as, like, as both.
Asian.
And as both, and he kind of, like, acknowledges his Asian heritage, his Asian mom, but then it's like, no, you're black. You're black.
Yeah.
Like, you're the first black golfer. He's like
first black
Asian
golfer.
But also, problem, like, he's also an Asian hero, too, but then it's like, nah, look, have you seen your skin color, Tiger? You're black.
But here's the problem. This is where he messed up.
He's got a lot of messages.
No, before all of that.
But yeah.
But before he was real popular. Oh, get down, Link. Oh,
I'm gonna get Link.
Yeah, get him.
Oh, Link. Link did that. No,
I know. Yeah. But before he was real popular, what he did was he really used his black card to give him that media advantage, those Nike commercials. Yeah. Have you ever seen those old Nike commercials? Before he even won his first Masters?
No.
Oh my God. There's one like, I couldn't play in this, at this course, years ago, but now I can. Like, just talking about, because in Augusta, where the Masters is played, black people couldn't play. And like, that recently stopped.
Some golf culture is super fucked up.
Yeah. So he used his black, he used that side of his identity for a long time, and then as soon as he won the Masters, that's when he came out with the Oprah, I'm Caucasian. So from that side, from the black people view, it's like, oh, you kind of like used us because you were always this.
It's really using when
complex and nuanced though.
There's complexion nuance because Are you like? That's another for conversation. Are you like 100? Are you 400% black?
Right.
No, are you?
Me? No.
Yeah.
No, I'm 75%. Yeah,
What's
I
it,
did my 23andMe.
Yeah, quarter white, bro.
I'm not proud of that.
Quarter white.
I'm scared of doing 23andMe because like you're some kind of fucked up thing. Like I'm scared of doing 23andMe and the response I guess back like we're surprised you're not even like part dog or something. Because according to like my mom like us we're talking about that and we got like a really weird like family tree, like. During the Spanish, like, Civil War, there's some really weird shit going on with the Middle East that I have on me. So, yeah, I don't know.
Dude, you probably do have it, like, looking real crazy, because I went out with this girl, like, a couple weeks ago, and we both looked at our 23andMe's on the date, which was kind of funny.
Your cousins? Kissing cousins?
No.
Kissing?
No.
Iceland has that.
We're kissing cousins.
Well, they have an app that you kind of like whenever you're talking to somebody, it's like let's check how far apart we are from each other.
Oh my god, because it's so low.
Because the population is so heterogeneous, man.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so this
is why we need diversity. So we're not fucking
Mexican.
cousins,
right? She's Mexican, so it was crazy to see her 23andMe because she was like literally everywhere on the map. And then you see mine, it's literally Africa and Europe. It's just, it's not as pretty as hers. It's like she had yellow, blue, red,
you
green,
got a stick, she got a full bouquet of flowers.
Like, you see that, that map,
touching everything, yeah.
Mine was like West Africa and England. And like parts of like France and Spain. And that was it. So
I guess the point I was gonna make is like you still consider like in your labels even though you're 25% white, you still label yourself as black.
I'm considered.
That's another like nuance. Like like he had to struggle so many things because he's identified as black.
Yeah.
So it's like it's like he has gonna have black struggles, but because of the color of his skin, he's also Asian. So like that's a racial part from him. So like that's also like a whole nother layer when it comes to biracial.
Like, this thing is like an onion, man.
The thing with race though, like first skin always takes precedence, which is stupid. Like
that's what you see.
Yeah, because Tiger he couldn't play the Asian card until he had a platform where he could speak. Whereas like, oh, you're black, right. Like, here's your deck of cards.
You could have said
it's just like, well, I was like, I gotta get through like that deck to get to the Asian card down there.
Right. But that's the thing though. Like he wasn't talking about his black side. It was just like you said, they could see it, but. He confirmed it with those Nike commercials saying like I'm black and I'm proud. I can play in Augusta now and I'll beat you white people. He didn't say I'm black and Asian.
Well, here's
like,
the thing
Asian
though.
Side is also proud.
Again with
that's the thing.
Racial associations.
Were Asians allowed to play back then?
Also, is Nike gonna give an endorsement to an Asian?
Yeah.
Okay, let me answer both. I don't think Asians were allowed.
I think it was just
whites only.
Pro-white.
And then now it's invite only.
Which is
white
they
only.
can still keep it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if you're rich, you could come, but if you're any other race, and just like
Condoleezza
you better like
Rice
jump
was
through.
Like the first black woman.
It's like we don't want to, but she's friends with like
W.
She's friends with W, so we gotta
exactly. And
like
then,
Colin Powell, he's a light skinned and friends with W, so we'll let him.
Exactly. But and to answer your question about the Nike thing,
think of like a Nike Asian guy before Tiger, and even then they didn't play the Asian card.
I'm like, but that's the thing though. Like
the only one
Asian people don't really play sports like that.
They do though.
Not like black people.
That's the thing. They do though.
they are genetically superior.
Like according to Kojima in the because that's still a thing in the police knot.
We'll beat them.
Really? Yeah, that's still a thing. That's still a thing in police knot.
We'll beat them in Asians. Will beat them in science, engineering, anything brainy, but physical. They're
the first president, so
yeah. Well,
that's because leadership is also.
Well, you also got the first vice president now.
Oh, so yeah. Oh wait, we also have the first vice president too, though. So.
I'll win something someday.
He'll get
that's why. Off track. That's why I love that Chappelle Show episode where they do the racial draft. That's so funny.
Yeah, which is what we're talking about. Like,
so fried rice, hello fried chicken.
We don't get a say in what team we're on, even though we could be part of multiple teams. Yeah, it's just other people like no, you are.
Yeah,
you're on that team, Tiger.
Yeah,
it's like nah, you're on that team, Wu-Tang Clan. Whereas, yeah,
but yeah, Nike. That's really weird. Well, it's not weird, but you're right. I can't think of any like Asian Nike athletes.
The only one
for SNL, they finally got an Asian guy like 2-3 years ago.
Well, up. Here's the thing with not picking your team. Rob Schneider's technically the first Asian.
No,
he's half Filipino.
Oh, is he? Okay.
But the thing is, his last name's Schneider, and then he's just kind of like
yeah.
Which he's half Jewish, and he plays into both, but it's just like Schneider, like and well. He doesn't physically show a lot of Filipino traits other than just him being short and kind of olive skin.
But Jewish people are like that too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jewish could be short and slimmer skin tone.
Oh, so he wasn't being offensive at Crazy Nights?
Everybody gives Bowen Yang all this stuff. It's like, nah, man. First of all, Bowen Yang, like, there's funnier Asians out there, man.
Yeah, tell me.
There's funnier Asians out there.
I do want to know
I'm Team Shane Gillis. I saw Shane Gillis stand-up comedy. I think Shane Gillis.
I just found out about him 2 days ago. Dude, he's hilarious.
Dude. Have you seen his special on Netflix?
Or not on
Netflix,
YouTube? YouTube. Yeah, I just saw
because his controversy. He's not getting a Netflix deal. Yeah, but like, it's the funniest special this whole year, man. Without a doubt.
I love that. Yeah,
but he's so funny, dude. And it's a shame, like. Well, we'll dive into this sort of stuff. There's a couple topics that kind of, but like I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm like Bo Yang, like how I see him.
Yeah, let's just jump into representation because we touched on earlier, like representation media. Bo Yang, like I'm glad we're getting. Well, here's the thing: people giving praise to Bo Yang, Bobby fucking Lee.
Oh, dude.
He's still funny. He's still funny.
Bobby Lee.
Pure blood Asian, 20 years ago, like 25 years ago. He, like, Mad TV was doing that shit way before SNL. Like, Mad TV had multiple black people on the cast way before SNL started having multiple black people. It's like, well, we'll have Eddie Murphy, and then that's it.
And then Chris
Rock.
And
then we'll have Chris Rock, and then that's it. And then we have Tim Meadows, and then that's it.
They had, what's his name? He was...
Garrett Morris.
Yeah, Garrett Morris.
Yeah, they'll have one at a time.
I forgot his name, but
we got one.
I forgot his name. I forgot his name. No, Tim Meadows.
Tim Meadows. Yeah, Tim
Meadows. He came after Chris Rock.
Yeah, and then after that we had.
It's like it's a one in, one out policy, and then
that's not good.
Yeah. Whereas
representation, just have the one.
Mad TV. Yeah. Mad TV had at the start like Aries Spears and Orlando Jones, and then later. Deborah Wilson was on for a long time with those guys, and then Key and Peele, baby.
Oh, don't forget the guy with the deep voice,
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
No,
that's a football player. But...
Lamar.
Oh, what's his last name?
He voiced Ramza in War of the Lions, man. He voices Samurai Jack.
Yes,
Phil Lamar.
Phil Lamar.
Yeah. Phil Lamar.
He also voices Static Shock.
Hold on, here's the thing, man.
That man has voiced your childhood.
Because he's black, we assume his first name's Lamar.
I just knew it was in the name. I just knew it was Lamar, either the first name or the last name.
Because he's black, it's like Lamar. We think of Lamar first. Like it is like he's got like he's got a regular first name like Phil.
Yeah.
He also voiced Vlad from MGS2.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Vamp.
Yeah, no Vlad. And also, do you ever watch Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends?
Yeah.
The tall guy.
Which...
Oh, the
basketball player with a one eye.
You're right.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of voice actors, like people wanting representation of like, I don't like how we can't have white people voicing non-white roles anymore because it is just a voice, and if that voice is not specifically coded to a specific race.
I'm of the other camp. Just mostly because like voice acting is such a hard field to get into to begin with.
Yeah, from
given
that
those
viewpoint,
given those roles to people, given a black role to like a white person, where it could be like an up and coming like black voice actor doing it. I much rather have it that way, even if it's not coded or if it's just like nerdy. Even if it's like a character like Urkel, where like there's no like
or Sonic,
which is voiced by a black guy,
right? Urkel. That's what.
Yeah. I just realized that.
I
super appreciate it.
Yeah.
I feel like there's need to be that push to have the proper representation also in the voice acting, because that's just a hard field, because that's played by either
it's
voice
like a
actors
good old
that
boys
been
club.
actors that have been like in the business for like 20 plus years, or celebrities that are just getting in because their name is because they have a name.
But see, here's the thing, because I'm with both of you, because yours makes sense, but in a vacuum.
With everything in this, there's nuance to everything.
Right, of course, it's no black and white in this, ironically. It's a gray spectrum. But in theory, yes, you're right. But if we didn't have so much, like, play behind the scenes and stuff, we have to go with...
I'm trying to remember a character that's not white, voiced by a white person.
Nadine Ross in Uncharted.
I would be not okay with her voice changed. Like, I feel like that is her role.
Especially Laura, what's her name?
Bailey?
Laura Bailey. She's probably one of the best.
Yeah.
So, like, I think for sure with existing roles, just let the white keep it.
Yeah.
Let the white keep it.
On that one,
Also,
Well, yeah, because a voice, especially if it's distinct,
especially because she's already... The voice she's doing is specifically South African voice, where she's not coded to doing like what we think of as like a black voice in America. It's like, I'm South African.
Yeah, it's kind of sound like an Australian voice. So
so like
to the American.
I'm cool with that.
Like iconic roles that were already started with those ones, like that one where I can like I personally, as somebody that wants to be like, no, I want to have like. If we have an Asian character, it should be by Asian person, so on and so forth. Even on those ones, like iconic voice roles, I'm just like, I personally have fightbacks. Like, well, I want the original person to do it.
Exactly. I want, like, don't let the old men have us have the classic voice, because we'll just be like,
that being said, if it's like a repurposed product, like for example, like the Thundercats Go.
But
I'm okay with that switching up because that product is no longer for me.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
If it's like it's non-human characters, who gives a shit? Like, give it to whoever.
Right.
But if it's like, but with that kind of discourse though, if you stick hard line to it, like, okay, all these animes, Japanese people, should we only give it to Asian?
That is a very interesting.
Which is just fucking. Just give it to the best voice.
But it can get crazy though, because in some of those animes, like just think about My Hero, the black superhero,
Black Rock, baby.
Yeah.
Black Rock. He's so fucking cool.
Dude. Yeah, but like he's actually voiced by a black guy.
Yeah.
That makes sense, but it's still an anime. So
unless
there's black Japanese guys out there,
there's no many,
like
but there
right,
is.
There's
no many, but
there's one in the NBA.
Yeah. There's one in the NBA. There's also like what is it like a couple of years ago which I found out they have a name for them. They're called Hafu, which is like
that's Asia.
Yeah. Anyways,
that's Asia super racist to black people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
also, again,
it's levels to that stuff.
Again, there's levels because we I don't remember if we touched on this at the start or if it was like in the the mics were warming up, but. Lack of exposure and lack of discourse because black people just don't exist in Japan, China. They don't know that some stuff's not okay, like touching a black person's hair.
Right.
Whereas I've seen some vlogs of black people living in Japan of just like them having to like, okay, I have to. Since I'm representing black people to this culture, I need to be the one opening up this dialogue of just, like, discussing, like, calmly discussing, like, hey, do you think it would be okay if I just touched your hair?
Right. Exactly.
And then, like, the answer's obviously no. And then, like,
well, no.
obviously, no, you don't want me touching your hair, just anybody, some stranger touching your hair. Then, like, okay, then why is it okay for you to touch my hair and, like, have those discussions? And the thing is,
I really want to.
we need to have these discussions, this open discourse, like, which is why we're having this podcast.
Exactly,
I think...
Because you don't learn otherwise if you don't have that exposure and discussion.
Right.
I think we can all agree on that one. Like, I'd much rather have a really awkward and tough conversation than just put it to the side and just being coddled.
Ignorance...
Could you pass me a Waterloo real quick?
Ignorance is okay, because ignorance is just a lack of information and knowledge, and then we could have a discussion and educate and expose somebody to something, instead of, like, the fucking Twitter mob will just immediately jump down somebody's throat and attack them. You'll naturally dig in on your back heels and get defensive.
The big problem that I have at Twitter is, like, there's some stuff I agree with it when it comes to, like, the hate mob and all that fun stuff, but everything's been sung from everything that Twitter does, whether it be like cancel or attack or whatever, is being seen through in very much an American lens.
Yeah.
So, like, that thing, it's hard to do. Like, somebody, like, for example, somebody growing up in, like, Korea 100% just moved to the United States to just say something where I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this stuff like that going on. Where we live in a world which is a lot more globalized and you can know some of those things already, but the thing is, you're still making American culture the de facto culture when it comes to talking in these topics, and the American viewpoint being the de facto American viewpoint, where, like, that's not what it is around the world.
Yeah, whereas, like, somebody coming over from an Asian country where they have no exposure to black people, it's just like, hey, you gotta give them a chance, man. You gotta give people a chance. Like, what we talked about earlier when people asking, like, oh, where are you from? Where are you from? Like, some people just immediately attack another person, just like, oh, where am I from? I'm American. No, it's...
Yeah, I don't get that.
They're trying to connect. It's a clumsy way, but they're trying to connect with you. They're trying to have
really funny.
A human experience.
I had just gone to dinner with my girlfriend and their friends. And all their friends are, like, Latino. But I got asked that question. It's like, hey, so, like, where are you from? So I stopped myself, like, I just mean where I'm from or where I'm from. And and everybody left because we had all had that conversation at one point.
Right.
So it's like, I'm Mexico, but I came from Nebraska.
Right. Because, like, do you remember Rick from Halston Monroe, the UPS guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, super
that
nice guy.
Fucking rock.
Yeah, but, like, a thing was like, hey, where are you from? I'm like, yeah, like,
America.
And then it became like, where are you from?
Yeah.
And then it was great because it's just like, yeah, I'm Filipino. And then we had, like, a great relationship. He's like, dude, my wife's Filipino. And then we got, like, got into some in the weeds talks about, like, Filipino shit.
He asked me that question.
Some
like,
Filipinos
it's
don't
like,
know.
hey, like, I know your name is Carlos, but, like, where are you from? I was like, oh, I'm from Mexico. It's like, and we just, he has so many Mexican friends, and he grew up, like, around Mexicans, and it's like similar conversation, like, being able to have these awkward conversations is super.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let white people have that awkward intro. Just let white people, other POCs who are on their high horse, let people have that awkward intro, because that's all they have, man. That's all they have. They're trying to open up a conversation to.
That's the only awkward thing they get.
Just
my problem. With
sometimes it gets weird.
My problem with that train of thought, and it's a problem like I have a lot of times, and I unfortunately, like, fall into it a lot. But, like, you got Google.
Yeah,
you got
Google. That's where I'm at.
And also,
like, if you want to find out before you ask me the question, I know I'm right in front of you. I know it's there, but, like, you should know at this point. It's like, hey, like, just pull up Google.
Right. Because, like, there's totally levels to it, because there's a difference from the UPS guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference from him wanting to know where you are from personally, so he can get to know you as a person, compared to just a random white person trying to ask me about, like, how do you feel about, like, George Floyd, or, like, something something like on
just
that
off
level.
the bat, just like, how do you feel about
right?
George
Just,
Floyd?
just
hey,
something
man.
like that. There's
Say hello first.
Right. So there's levels to it, because you're right. There is Google, and we have to do that all the time.
Dude, yeah.
I'm not sure what you guys call it, but we call it like code switching.
Yeah.
Same thing. Okay, so like we code switch all the time. So it's like you could at least kind of do the same.
It is a part of our everyday life.
It's part of part of our everyday lives that most white people never have to deal with.
Right.
But like a bias I just threw out there, like white people have that intro. Let people have that intro, because last week when I started this gig, a black person asked me that. I'm just like, yeah, man,
I've gotten a lot more off-pocket comments from black people than I've gotten from white people. And the big thing I've gotten out of that is because like
what? What question?
I just like for example, like this happened at my neighborhood back when I worked for GameStop. Yeah. Because I live because I worked at a Puerto Rican, mostly Puerto Rican black neighborhood.
Baby, Humboldt Park.
Yep.
Humboldt Park.
The subway is being ran by Indian people. Ooh. And the guy just like doesn't really speak English that well, but he understands it very well. Mm-hmm. And there was like we had this like black lady with her kids. She was trying to get her sandwich. And she was telling me, like, no, I want that, and it's like, he couldn't understand it because she was speaking very fast. So she looks at me, it's like, can you tell him, like, in Spanish real quick, like, what I want?
Oh my God.
And I was like, was like, man, like, he's Indian, like, he's not gonna understand me. I was like, oh, fuck.
Can you tell?
Yeah.
It was more like a, hey lady, you just need to slow down.
Yeah.
Just like women have that, or black women have that problem sometimes.
I would just venture, like, I'm just gonna venture out to say, like, it's a lot of like I said, like, I've gotten a lot of like out of pocket shit more from black people, but the thing is like, I fucking love black people.
See, again, with like...
That's the thing, I fucking love black people. So it's like, yeah, whatever.
Because black people got that card in America.
Yeah, I think that's where it comes from, because you're right. Because if a white person did that exact same thing...
I would have I would have, like, make it a whole fucking issue. I would have pulled out my phone, made a whole fucking issue out of it.
But like, black people, it's like, they got some struggle.
Yeah, I think when it comes to black people, like... How I think of it, I'm probably going to be biased, but like how I think of it is, it doesn't come from a place of malice with that. When she said that, I don't think she was like, oh, this immigrant or this foreigner. Mm-hmm. I think it was literally her thinking like,
this brown person doesn't understand me. This brown person's here.
Right. It was like that. Like,
let me help.
I've been with my kids all day. I want to feed my bad
Well, that's
kids.
the thing that you're talking about. You have this bias. You're making these excuses and this story, this probably non-existent story for this black lady, when we all knew we probably would have had an issue, would have been a white lady.
Right. But did she have 2 kids?
She had like 3 kids.
But see,
I mean,
there's the story. I'm making it actually worse.
Yeah.
Because you're right. I'm making a story, but I'm not like making it a good story. I'm making it. She's a single black mother with 3 kids, probably like 2 or 3 different baby daddies. I'm like making
that's
it
the thing.
worse.
And that's the thing. Doesn't matter how woke you are. Doesn't matter how woke you are. We live in a society where like stereotypes are so ingrained into our society that even if you don't want to do it, you just. Even you want to think about it, you just end up doing it.
Well, the thing with like stereotypes and profiling, though, they don't come out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. So sometimes that's the thing with like, it's like, that's a shitty stereotype, but I've met a bunch of those dudes. Right. It's like, shit.
Yeah.
A big one. Like, once again, I want to blame it on society just because we do have a very like wide infrastructure going on just in the United States to begin with, where it's like they get pushed into that direction where like this happens very commonplace, and a lot of white people's first interactions is this one.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately just kind of permeates everything.
Yeah, which is messed up. Well, I remember, to add on to that, I remember I was on some social media site like years ago. Have you guys ever
What's
heard
in
of
your pits?
No, it was
Black Star? World Star?
No, Black Star.
That's an anime character. That's an anime
World Star Hip Hop.
World Star, yeah.
Jesus Christ! And no, it was Meet Me or My Yearbook. Did you guys ever get on that?
No, I didn't like people from my high school.
Oh. Okay. But yeah, it was this the site where you like got to talk to like other high schoolers or whatever. And this white girl.
We're too old to be talking to high schoolers, bro.
This was when I was in high school.
Okay.
Not now.
No better. Because I don't want to call the feds on you or something, dude. Call Chris Hansen.
Gills, Shane Gills. How old? No, but like to add on to that, where it's like a first reaction thing. It was this chick. She was from Cincinnati, and white girl, and she was like, and her thing was like, oh, I don't like black guys, and she was saying this. And I think it was like black guys from Cincinnati. It was like really crazy. Yeah. And I was like, why? And she explained. And the thing was like, she was like raped by one black guy. And it was real crazy because it was like, that's fair to have that feeling. But you can't literally put that on literally every black person. Because that's like if you were raped by somebody white.
That is a trauma with layers to it.
Yeah, that's like a lot of layers.
Because... Yeah, sexual violence just so much stuff to you.
It's so many layers to it. But I still found that crazy because it's like would you feel that way like if it was a white guy? You wouldn't stay hating like white dudes.
Because
that's the thing. I don't think they would. It would just be like men in general.
With that sort of trauma, like even
that makes sense to me.
Even a dude with similar facial features, similar height or build, might trigger somebody with that sort of trauma.
Mm-hmm. But
so like it's. But again, we back to skin color. That is the most identifying mark.
Right. But here's the reason... Sorry to cut you off. But here's the reason it makes sense to me. Because at that point, it's all men. So every man has that set of... He has that body part to do that to you. So in your mind, as a victim, like anybody with that weapon in their pants, they can do that to me. But like when you make it... Now it's a race thing. It's kind of like, well... A white guy could do that. An Asian guy could do that. Why is it now specifically random black guys from and weirdly Cincinnati?
Again, like even because black people, they don't all look alike. There's different.
Right. Well, like we all have different shades. Yeah. Like that's why. When you ask me why would it matter if it was just all guys? Because we all have that part, so that can happen to you. But when it's a color, like. Even though that's the first thing we see in everybody, that color really doesn't mean anything. I don't have an extra power that you don't, or you don't.
Well, we don't know that yet.
You better watch out. This is COVID. I got superpowers.
This is when we will pull out our
superpowers. Yeah. We already talked about fast twitch muscle fibers. Yeah. You also got like an extra bone in your throat to make you guys sing higher. You got superpowers.
But yeah, I didn't get that. That's why it's like so you're to add on to that with the first situation for a white person like that can like really make or break. And it adds on to what you were saying about the Japanese thing where a black person goes to Japan and they feel like they have to be like the king of the blacks and be like, no, you don't touch black people here. Like,
because
stuff like that.
I would gladly take the seat of king of the Mexicans though. That's the thing I mean.
That sounds like king of the Mexicans.
Again, exposure of just something white people don't have to deal with, like what part of white privilege, something that like they have to deal with it very seldomly. That they don't have to, especially in this country, they don't have to represent their race.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Because the thing is, with this country, it's very diverse, but it's still predominantly white. They're the largest ethnic group in this country. Yeah. There's a chance we are someone's first exposure to our race or ethnic group. Yeah. So, like, with that exposure, first, like, oh, I'm, like, meeting this Filipino guy. He's being a dick to me. I guess all Filipinos are dicks.
Yeah. Right.
Where they have that... It's very simple and stupid mindset of just like, oh, this one person represents everything. And that's how it is now. But, like, that's the world we live in.
This is a really weird...
This country.
This is a really weird question. I don't know if it... Because
I've gotten you're so well spoken.
I've gotten that so many times.
I feel like I've heard that a lot.
Have you folks ever had the
from Park Ridge, bitch.
Conversation?
Which one?
The conversation of like you gotta work twice as hard.
Just
to be middle.
Yeah, okay. I've heard. Yeah, I definitely got that one.
I had
a little less. Yeah. We Asians have different stereotypes to them,
right?
Which like
carries its own baggage.
Kind of the best.
Yeah,
but the
here-
thing
like some of the Filipino specific
Filipinos, I
stereotypes,
always think of them as
like I'm
black
a
people though.
like I'm a nurse, like all right, that's
only-
fine. Or
the only
dudes fuck boys,
The-
which
the
I'm
only-
not. I'm a little wiener nerd, but
The only
I don't wanna be a
Filipino
fuckboy. I'm not a
stereotype
fuckboy.
that I've been like on a 98% like this is a correct stereotype is like Filipino men love basketball.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my dad like
Which is crazy.
into his 30s was playing in an intramural.
Oh, he
league.
was still a hooper?
Because
Okay.
it's again, it's similar to why like the roots of why black people love basketball.
Yeah.
Like being disenfranchised and it's a cheap game to play.
Yeah, like you can play
All you need is shoes
where
and a
the
ball.
concrete's at.
Yeah, and also with again space issues
Yeah.
because a basketball court is way smaller than a soccer,
Dude, I got
soccer
a hoop,
pitch.
I got a hoop and court in my backyard.
Whereas
right now.
like with black people, predominantly urban areas, not a lot of real estate.
Right.
Basketball court, small amount of area. All you need is ball and like
A hoop or something, or a basket even.
Same thing
Right,
with
just a basketball,
the same thing with the Philippines. In the urban areas, super overpopulated and dense and tight.
Right.
Or like the rural areas where my dad came from, a lot of farmland, a lot of like rice paddies and shit. Like you can't put a soccer pitch there, but like, hey, we could put a basketball court. So
Right.
we love to hoop, man. Filipinos
yeah.
love basketball.
Like-
We're not good at it.
No.
We,
but
no.
that's why it's crazy though, just to see like from a black viewpoint, or at least mine for sure. Like I never realized how popular it was with like Asian people.
Oh yeah.
Like I was like, huh, because like the only Asian guys I can always think of are Yao Ming,
Yeah.
Jeremy Lin, and like Yao Ming's like an actual.
Oh, he's
like,
a
good
freak.
player.
No, he's a freak.
Dude,
On
he's
top
a
of that.
Hall of Famer. I
Yeah.
love. He was like one of my favorite like players growing up. Maybe top 5 for sure. It was Allen Iverson, and Yao Ming. Like those are the guys I could think like the exact opposites. But like Iverson really spoke to me because like he looked like me, like for sure.
He's
and he
like
looked so much smaller than everybody.
Shorter
else on the
guy, he's
court.
got to be fast and fierce. man.
Right, I'm like,
Dude,
Oh man, I loved Iverson.
my main
I still do. He's still a
association
beast.
with Iverson and why I love him, best stats in NBA Street, man.
Oh
Best stats in NBA
man!
Street.
Oh
Fucking
man!
always played Iverson in NBA
Dude,
Street.
I loved playing Iverson.
I
in
was
the
a
Street
little
series.
wiener. I was a little wiener nerd. My dad tried to really get me into sports. Couldn't do it.
Well, you weren't good at him, or you didn't like him.
I didn't like them.
Okay.
Just the competitiveness behind it. I just
Okay,
didn't like
that's
it.
fair.
And
I
the main
loved that.
the main thing I had issues with, and that I think this is a topic for a whole nother thing. Like, I'm not straight. I'm a queer man. So
Okay.
like, there's also like that machismo behind it. I just felt very uncomfortable with.
Okay.
That I just had to push for it. But the one sport I tried to get into because I wanted to connect with my dad was bullfighting.
Huh. Okay.
But that's because I like bulls. I grew up in a village with farms, so I had
Even the Chicago
contact with
Bulls.
cows. I liked it because of Space Jam.
Oh, okay.
Which is another thing. Like I think everybody can get behind, regardless of race. Space Jam, the original one's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Oh, dude, I just saw Space Jam.
But Space
But
Jam
back then, I thought that if it was on TV, because I mostly watch cartoons.
It's not for us. It's for kids.
Because I mostly watch cartoons, I thought that if it was on TV, it's not real. So whenever I watch a
Okay.
bullfighting match, I thought it wasn't real.
Oh.
Until I would watch them with my dad.
Okay.
It's like, oh, you like this? I was like, yeah, I love this. Like, it's cool because I wanted to. I only saw him like maybe 6 times a year, and only that.
Oh, okay.
So he took us to a bullfighting match. I was like, oh, this is fun, and you know you have a Mexico has this really weird thing for like old people pretending to be kids and little people doing tricks. So we had like a team of like 6 little people.
I have
just
several questions.
in quad bikes, just doing tricks. Just doing tricks.
Like
before-
what type of tricks?
Yeah.
They were
Like
just jumping.
like
Like juggling or?
They were
some
doing.
Jesse
They were,
White
they
shit?
were jumping. They were jumping through like a fire hoop
Okay.
Oh my god!
and a
they were, like,
ramp
doing
and
some clown
yeah.
stuff.
Is it
Okay.
like the pre-show before the
Yeah.
bullfight? Okay.
And then
Oh,
we
okay.
have bullfighting, and then I just see this bull get massacred. It's like I'm just trying throughout the whole
Really?
thing.
So you've
yeah.
been to one live?
Yeah, I've been one life. I saw
Yo,
fucking
that's
so
crazy.
like killed.
They
and
killed him?
Yeah,
Dude,
you kill him.
Does that happen every show?
I've been to a cockfight.
So cockfighting. So
I know that's illegal.
So that's the thing.
I
Cockfighting.
was in the Philippines. Don't give us a
Oh,
shit.
it's super illegal.
Yeah.
Same thing in Mexico
Yeah.
is super legal.
You eat the loser.
Yeah.
You eat the loser. It's the problem with eating the loser is that
He's a loser.
They're fighting cocks. They're lean as
They're
shit
gonna
and
be
they're
tough.
tough. You gotta
course,
cook the
yeah.
shit.
And
You
they-
gotta slow
and-
cook them.
They get so
Muscular
bloody.
as
They
hell,
get
man.
so bloody. Like
Yeah.
a cockfighting ring is so bloody.
Jesus.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah, both sides of my family, they fucking raise.
Yo. This
Put the little blade on
bullfighting,
them.
dog.
I want to
Wait,
do a
they
little
put
bullfight.
they
man.
put
It's-
blades
it's
on the.
Oh yeah.
They put like a little like side blade to the
freaking-
thing.
Yeah,
Like
little sickles on their legs.
like,
so
you
they,
know
I guess
that
that
makes
makes sense.
they slice and dice each other,
Okay.
man.
like you know that thing that Chip
Guarantees
has
a
from
kill.
Guilty Gear.
Yes,
That's what they put
It
on.
has that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like they got sickles.
Dude,
on
we
it.
gotta
Okay.
take you to like the
Some
back room of a
cockfighting.
bodega
Yeah.
or something, and
Oh,
like,
I definitely want to see one now.
it's like I am not into the cruelty of a bullfight, but I want to.
But that's
There's a
I didn't
primal
even know it
hit.
was
That's-
cruel.
Oh,
I
no,
always
They
wondered
raise-
how it ended.
So they raise the bull. The only purpose for this bull is to like be in the
Die.
match. So during the match, they cut him up, or he gets to fuck up the bullfighter.
Yeah.
They stab him to get him angrier and stuff like that. And at the very end of it, like you
And-
talk to the crowd, and if the bullfighter put out a good show, because at the very end, it is a showman.
It's
It is a
right.
show. It
'Cause,
is
yeah, it's rigged for the bullfighter to win. Also, it's not
more often than
fair.
not. Yeah, if the
It's not a
if
fair
the bull
fight.
wins, he gets to live.
Yeah.
But more often than not, the bull dies. And the way that they do it, sometimes
It's
they
like pro wrestling kind of.
well, there's like different rates.
It's like
you know, if you did
gladiators.
okay, you cut off an ear, and then if they keep cheering, you cut off the other ear. If they're like going wild, you cut off the tail, and then you get to kill him.
Yeah.
But the thing is like in order to put out his misery, they have this very specific like sword because
Yeah.
they use like rapiers and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Okay, yeah, like the.
The very end of
I've
it,
seen some videos.
the very end of it has a very like has a split end, so it looks like a cross. They put it in the vertebrae to split it and kill it. So like you see a bull fighting, you see like a giant bull just going to this tiny twink just to kill him, and just killing the snake, and you just see like a full like beast just stop.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
love
never
the,
knew
And
that,
then everybody
that they had
cheers.
like a gladiator ending.
Yeah.
I never really thought like how they ended. And that's
Yeah.
the thing. I just always thought like you see it, it's like yeah.
Can I just say,
But then they put him up.
I love the drip of Torreadors, man.
Oh my
Those
god,
outfits are so
I will
those look
kill
amazing.
for that outfit like that.
Dude,
I
should
would
we
kill a bull for
should
it.
we put together Torreador costumes for the next few days, Halloween? We gotta,
Look clean.
and just also the style of it, of
swag.
just the
I mean,
yeah,
Vega.
you gotta have a massive amount of confidence to
I
do
mean
that,
Vega.
Vega,
Right,
yeah, Vega.
Vega.
I
Yeah.
love
Oh,
that
sorry,
shit, man.
Claw.
though. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in the States, it's Vega.
Vega.
There ain't no Japanese people here.
But
Oh yeah, what were
He
we
ain't
talking
bald.
it's
about?
The love of bullfighting.
basketball, like
Yeah, we're
the,
talking about
the
basketball.
shared experience. But like, hey,
Yeah.
just because a Filipino or another Asian loves basketball
does not
mean they
all
like
love
black
it.
people.
Yep.
Oh God,
Yeah,
that's
that
the
is very
worst.
true.
Yeah, but just because,
Well, that's sports in general.
yeah,
though.
because you have these. Oh my god, there's a great. Oh man, it's been a while since I've been out of college for like over a decade. It's been a while since I've taken my AAST classes, but there's like a specific term for it that. Oh no, I don't. The broader term is cognitive dissonance,
Right.
where it's like I love Oprah, but I hate black people. But I could have that mental split of like, she's one of the good ones. I don't count her
Yeah.
as black, but
I've
I hate
heard
black
that
people.
one a lot.
Yeah,
One of the
yeah.
good ones.
Yeah.
You're not like the other ones.
Right.
Of just like-
you don't even know the other one. Shut
there's
up.
a fantastic scene in I love Spike Lee. Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, where he's needling Spike's needling John Turturro's character of just like, hey, who's your favorite athlete? And then like, oh, it's I think it was Michael Jordan at that
Okay.
time. It could have been, yeah, when that. But then like, oh yeah, like who's your favorite athlete? Like it's Prince, and then it's like, nah, it's Bruce Springsteen's like, no, you love Prince. Like, how can you love all these black people, but you hate black people?
Exactly.
But then, yeah, just white people. Again, I keep saying white people, but people do it all the fucking
Yeah.
time, man. They do it all the time.
A big one, especially I see like within my culture, because there's just Latin culture has a huge problem with like anti-blackness. Like a lot of our ancestors were black.
yeah.
Like if you look at the
Everyone
old,
hates black people.
like
around
if
the
you
world.
look, I mean Andre 3000 had this really fun like jumpsuit collection where they had like old woke shit, which I
Yeah.
thought was like peak liberal nonsense. but my favorite one is like he has a jumpsuit where it's just like of all people, we're the darkest ones hurt the most in the world.
Right.
I was like, that is very correct.
Yeah.
It's just
quietly and away from the mic as possible.
Now it's ASMR.
yeah, it's just very there. It definitely, I feel like in my culture, it just feels like there's a race to be white, just because they're more willing to like put down people or darker skin color. That way, they don't get like hurt as much as they do.
Right. Yeah, like it's crazy how it's like that for pretty much every race. Where
Every
it's
culture, man.
like, oh, well, we like your athletes, we like your entertainers, we like your singers, but we don't really care for y'all that much. Because I was watching like something on Undefeated. It's like this black like sports thing, and it was like these 3 black athletes playing in white sports. So like it was a chick that did sword fighting. What do you call that one? Fencing, thank you. It was a chick that did fencing, so she was black and Muslim, so gosh, she really had a trip. Light-skinned black dude in hockey, and just like a chocolate black guy in golf.
Black guys playing hockey.
Yeah,
that's
what.
Yeah.
That's,
maybe like
and that was his point. But in that, they were talking at the end of it was a great conversation, like 12 minutes. And at the end of it, they were talking about like how their teammates, their coaches, they all listen to like Drake or like Lil Wayne. They all love watching certain sports, and they all love certain movies. And the chick, she said something so beautiful. It was like, man, I wish they loved our culture like they loved us. Because it's like, can you imagine if like people loved black people like how they love black culture? Like it'd be so less problem.
That cognitive dissonance, man, is
that's
strong.
amazing
It's
because
strong.
I can't even get me personally I don't understand
like I love rap music. Fuck black people.
right exactly. It's like I don't understand that like to myself because it's like
No, it's
you see them like how you see me. He can just do something for you. Like it's crazy like LeBron or MJ, like just especially LeBron, because I don't know why he's so divisive. Actually, I do know because he's a black man that does whatever he feels like doing. Like
but again,
he just does.
he has exception because he got to a point economically and socially where he gets that exception of like you have to have these other qualifiers of being the best in the game, like a super rich man.
Yeah.
And like a culturally influential person, like I could do these things, but like another lower level, just anybody, it's like shut up and play the game.
Right, exactly.
Don't kneel. Fuck off.
Heck, they told that to LeBron. What was that? Laura Ingraham or whatever her name was.
Well, like
She's
those,
the one
those Fox News channel.
Well, yeah, that's
people
true
just
too.
be saying,
Well, I think it goes back to the like us having that conversation.
Right.
Like we just, I think Chris Rock like put it really well. It's like, a black man get a fly when a white man can just go and get him, walk for it or something like that. Because he was talking about like how in the neighborhood that he lives in, like there's only like 5 black people, him, Oprah, Denzel, JC, and then like, and you know who our neighbor is? Some dentist.
A dentist, like the Chris Rock special, yeah, dude. Like that's so, it's so messed up when you think about that. Like, wow, just a dentist, just a normal dentist.
We're not,
with the top like 1.1% of black people.
Just 8 dentists.
Just 8 dentists. Not the best. He's not the dentist of the stars. He's not like a Nobel Peace Prize dentist. Just a dentist.
And to just touch back on something with like the skin tone thing, that just exists in every culture where the lighter skin tone is always prioritized.
Yeah.
Just because like I've, had friends and family and like from the Philippines being like, oh, you could be a movie star over there. It's just like, and I've seen some Filipino TV. It's just like
super light skin
because I am average American height and have a light skin tone. Like,
it's
you don't
need talent at all.
Every culture, man, because like I'm working with like a group with some like Desi people or like. For you, not in the know, South Asian, which includes Indian, Pakistani, Bangladesh, Sri Lankan. Like, that exists in that culture. Like, even in Africa, that shit exists. Too, But it's this weird fucking... Cause I can't speak for all cultures, but a lot of it goes back to this thousands of year old shit of just I have a lighter skin tone because I don't have to work in the sun, so I'm like
right,
so
exactly.
royalty being like paler and so like
fat.
yeah, like being fat and pale is just valued, and like it's weird we are like hundreds of years removed from that agrarian mindset, but it's still there of just like
the caste system is very real.
Yeah. You're just like he's a lighter skinned guy. He must be well off. He must be a doctor or something.
Which is really funny.
He's not working in the fields.
Which is really funny because like if you see me and my brothers, because I have an older brother, he has a different dad than I do. He's that very pale skin, really nice, dark hair color. He's very like Anglo-Sax. Like you look at him, he's like, oh, this is just a white guy.
Right.
I mean, his name is Jonathan at that.
John.
Yeah, Jonathan. I call him John Nathan sometimes.
John Nathan.
Because just to piss him off.
Hey, John Nathan.
I'm in the middle. I'm like the one with the olive skin. My younger brother's darker than me, and like no, he's just like darker than me. He is like a light skin. Like he's like a lighter skin. Like brown.
Okay.
So like he's gotten like weirder shit than I've gotten. Like I remember he was telling me like this story where like, granted he was being a little dick because he was one of those like bad kids. He snuck into some girl's house with his friends. Oh. And they got found out, so they had to fucking like run away. And the dad just like very safe, like, what is Guadalupe fucking doing here?
Is that a girl's name?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a chick's name. He called her Guadalupe. He didn't say, why is Hector here? He didn't say nothing like that. He said, what's the first name I can find that's insulting?
Yeah.
Guadalupe.
So like, yeah, very much like that.
What's
like,
your younger brother's name?
Roberto.
Oh, okay.
Because we were gonna be named.
Robert.
I was gonna be named Roberto. Like my mom is super into like this like Brazilian gospel singer named Roberto Carlos. So that was gonna be my name.
Oh, okay.
But my dad's name is Carlos, and no, this is my first kid. It's gonna be named after me. So
that's the same thing my dad said.
So like, they met in the middle, so we split up the names.
Catholic dads, man.
Yeah.
My dad's not Catholic. That's the craziest thing.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. He was Baptist. We were all Catholic. Yeah.
Okay. He's just like, I'm not going to that weird guy with the collar.
But here's the craziest thing. Before he passed, he was gonna convert. That's the craziest thing, right?
Don't convert to Catholicism. Just like, I'm gonna...
the first door to the right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm gonna splash some water and...
This is gonna be suck.
Oh yeah, dude, you got a onesie on.
You gotta take out the whole thing.
Good luck.
Dude. So, I talked about Spike Lee earlier. As a black person, you love Spike Lee, obviously.
I actually don't.
No, that condescending shit of just like, oh, you're like, you must like Spike Lee. You love Get Out, right?
I actually do.
Yeah, but like that assumption.
But yeah, no, I understand.
Those racial assumptions of
you like Bruce Lee. You know Kung Fu.
I do like Bruce Lee. I do know that. I have Bruce Lee's book, but yeah, let's when Carlos gets back, let's focus on representation, man. Because this is like being posted on a media YouTube channel, specifically video games. And for the longest time, I thought like, representation doesn't matter. Because representation discourse, it's very surface level, or it can be initially, of just like, again, with quotas and just check boxes, it can be like, we'll just get this many. Like, we got a black on our show, we got an Asian on our show, let's...
Check. You know,
we're good, we got representation down. And
WWE actually does that. They have a guy, like, in the control room, and he counts, like, how long certain races have been on the TV.
Because, I thought it was... Because with I went to UIC, which is a very culturally diverse school, and I was in the education program for the majority of my time there. And the whole shtick there is teaching for social justice, which is, that gets a bad reductive rap these days, like these social justice warriors, but part of the social justice agenda for, what I love about that program is, what is social justice? What does it mean to you? How are you going to define that? And the main thing is just, how are you going to use these concepts to try to make people's lives better? Is social justice. Try to like make the world a better place than it is now. and what did I start with?
You're starting with representation.
Yeah, so and then also having taken like African American studies classes and whatnot. Like I even thought about minoring in African American studies. But the thing is, though, what I realized with my own biases of just like, my fascination with the African American narrative in this country is an Orientalist one of just the same way old British white guys were like, ooh, India is very exotic and fascinating. Ooh, Asia. Like the Orientalist mindset of just like, ooh, how exotic and fascinating. Which is like, I realize how I'm interested and I love the African American story through history.
Right.
But like growing up in the white suburbs, I'm so removed from it, and it's just like, oh, I'm like those gross white people. like those white people. Like okay, like but I had those tools to understand that bias there.
Because this happened to you.
I don't just jump into the conversation, but I have a very similar situation with that because like moving from Mexico to United States, my first place being Nebraska. Little town Nebraska that we only had like one black family. Everybody was either... Oh, God. Yeah, we only had like one or two black families. We had a couple Asian families, and they run the Chinese buffet. Mm-hmm. Most of them were white. Shit. Yeah. Most of them were white.
Get all the money.
Most of them were white, and then the rest were like Latino. They were like either like Guatemalan or predominantly Mexican.
Okay.
So like... Growing up in Mexico, in the United States, I was aware of the black struggle just due to like Martin Luther King and stuff like that because I grew up listening to a lot of American music. And noticing that my mom listened to a lot of rock music and not a lot of black people were in there. Like there were Prince, there were like Diana Summers and stuff like that. It was like, why doesn't? So I predominantly growing up listened to a lot of funk and a lot of like black music. So I very much like him. I was like just deep in culture. It was from like a X-Factor last kind of thing. I ended up falling in love with like a bunch of like black leaders, like Huey, also as well as like Malcolm X.
Right.
To the point like where I wanted to get a Malcolm X tattoo, and I'm just like,
oh word, okay.
And looking back, I'm just like, that is a.
That would have been cool.
But it was gonna be it was gonna be the portrait of him with the AK-47 looking out the window.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's hardcore, man.
That would have been real hardcore. I thought you were going to say the X. No, you was hardcore for real.
Whereas, like, when I was growing up and being able to, be being self-aware of these things, I'm just like, I'm pigeonholing this. I am not. I'm being the fun racist where, like, I'm being so woke where I end up being racist.
Right.
It just goes back.
Yeah. Like I like understood my interest in blackness was detached from black people. Because like I've had black people in my life, like coworkers, classmates, but honestly, like I didn't have my first black friend until I was like 26 and met you. Because like I'm like I grew up in the white suburbs, man.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
There was the only people in my subdivision were was like the Russell brothers and the one who was my age. Like, people thought he was, like, a tough guy, but I think it's just because he was half black.
Half black.
Like, yeah.
I like how the half black was enough.
Yeah.
And also, like, he had a learning disability, too, I think.
Oh, so
he
was pretty quiet to himself.
Yeah, so people,
so
and, like,
yeah, okay.
Also, like, I think people bullied him, but he was kind of like a bigger, taller dude, so of course he's gonna fight back, and he got like so like people thought he was like, oh, he's a tough, like, he's kind of like a mean guy, but then it's like, no, Tim's actually really nice, he's a really sweet guy.
Are you talking about?
But he'll fuck you up if he has to like defend himself.
Right.
Do you met Black Hodor?
Huh? Black Hodor?
Yeah.
No.
No. Okay.
No, he wasn't. That. Just a learning disability. Okay. He wasn't.
Okay.
Oh. He wasn't. We get what I'm saying. We get what I'm saying.
I think I need it spelled out now. Okay.
Billy will tell us the word.
Yeah, I mean, we like that word we all said in the 90s.
Yeah.
That
90s.
Yeah.
2000s.
Yeah. That I've replaced with ridiculous. It's because it starts with an R. Like I have the same thing in my head, but it's easy for me to just
It is
that's fucking weird.
It is
that's
ridiculous. It is
ridiculous.
a very.
But you know what I mean from the 90s.
It is a very.
You know what I mean.
It's a very regressive word
Yeah.
to imply a certain regressive train of thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, it starts with the regressive part.
Yeah, but when we were in the bathroom, we're shifting our focus hard to. When you were in the bathroom.
I was pissing.
Well, I was watching you secretly. But we're gonna shift our focus to representation because
Right.
like because I thought I was taking all those social justice-y classes and like studying African American and African American studies stuff. I thought like representation discourse is so like surface level and like there's so much deeper things, which there are. There's so much deeper things than representation. And it wasn't until I was like, fuck that. This is like surface level shit for like a while afterwards. Then I read this article in usgamer.net, which is a defunct website, but it still might be up. There's a great article about it, written by Mike Williams, who is a black video game journalist.
Okay.
About like representation. And I was like, oh shit, he changed my mind on it. And like it had me thinking back about like my own personal experiences. Like, oh shit, seeing Bobby Lee on TV meant a lot to me. Seeing Jackie Chan movies meant a lot to me. It's like, oh shit, like even though you don't think about it, like when you first realize like the media I'm watching doesn't represent me, like it suddenly it's like, oh, you don't think about it, but it's programmed into it on such a subtle level.
You guys talking about that and just like how you said, like Bobby Lee meaning a lot to me, a lot to you and stuff like that. The only one I can think of that, because once again, Mexico moving to the United States,
right?
They were like, oh, this is like me on the TV, was fucking George Lopez, and I fucking hate George Lopez.
Oh man,
he's not
because
funny.
he goes with the stereotypes too hard.
He's not. No, I just don't think he's funny.
Oh, okay.
I just don't think he's funny.
How about Carlos Mencia? How did you feel about him? I know he's not Mexican.
I didn't like him,
even though he pretended to be.
I didn't like him.
Honduras, I think.
He's Honduran, like half Honduran at that.
He's like half German. His first name's Ned, and his last name's like he has a German last name.
And he's a thief.
But he's.
But like thinking back, like I don't think it was like, because very much like you, I grew up like watching cartoons and anime.
Yeah, right.
I think the first one I can pinpoint, like, oh yeah, these are more like along things that I grew up with, or I can like identify with. Mucha Lucha.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I barely remember that.
On top of that was another layer to it, because a lot of that conversations are like Mexican American conversations. So like, that's not me. I am full blooded Mexican.
Right, exactly.
Whereas like this is more like immigrants. These are kids whose parents were immigrants, where like I'm the immigrant myself.
Right.
Yeah. But even then I was still able to connect and be able to see those things, like, oh, I understood that and stuff like that. It was really
interesting. Lucha, that's a great example.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to go through.
And the dude keeps making like really good stuff.
Oh,
like,
he still makes stuff?
He made he also was part of like El Tigre, like this Nickelodeon show, and he helped or produced or directed, I forgot where his hand was on there, The Book of Life.
Okay.
The CG animated movie.
Okay, I got you. Wait, so I'm glad you brought up Mucha Lucha, because in my head I was trying to think of representation for Mexican people or
I will tell
Latin,
you. I will tell you which one has the best representation for Mexican people when it comes to like anime and stuff like that, and that's Hajime no Ippo.
I've never heard of that one.
It is a boxing anime.
It is an old school boxing anime.
Oh, that kind of makes sense.
The Mexicans are like the Ubermensch in that anime. They're like just the most beast, fucking destroy like this tiny Japanese man like in the corner,
just wrecking them.
Back to like Filipinos finally getting widespread representation. Manny Pacquiao,
right?
Filipinos, we call him the Mexican Killer.
The Mexican Killer,
yeah, because that's how he like.
Yeah.
He was
Oscar,
especially with that like that weight class. It's smaller dudes like Mexican guys. Like, he just the Mexican Killer. Like, American media is not gonna use that, but like,
heck no.
Filipinos were like, the Mexican Killer.
I mean, we love boxing, and like that's the thing. Like, Hajime no Ippo has the best like Mexican representation in anime to date, and I think the other one that's next to it will be whatever Tito Cuba makes. The guy that makes Bleach.
Chad.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
No, he loves Mexicans. Every single one of his series, he always has a Mexican character in there.
Okay.
It's actually pronounced tight. He goes with tight. Yeah.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Because he keeps it tight, bro.
Yeah.
It's tight.
Speaking of
but
Mexican killer, guess who killed the Mexican killer? Floyd Mayweather. So.
Yeah, but he's boring to watch. Yeah, but
he's boring to watch.
Yeah, but another thing.
okay.
Just even with Asian representation, like, if you're going old country stuff, like in Asia, most Asians hate each other because of like history and other shit.
Yeah, you could just especially history,
especially
like,
Japan.
Asia, like Asian cohesiveness, like Asian togetherness, only exists in the West.
Yeah, because
it's like there's no Filipinos on TV, man. There's no Filipinos, at least when I was growing up. So like, okay, we all eat rice. We got to stand up for the Koreans. We gotta rise up for Jackie Chan, that Canton motherfucker. He used to be pro Hong Kong, and then now he's
been super.
But his money. He's
like, I support Beijing and all their choices.
Yeah, I'm like, I always thought of him as like a Hong Kong.
But that's another.
It's really funny because
I could get one of my Chinese.
It's really funny because my girlfriend and I very much grew up. Both of us very tokenized, very much being the only one of that person in the group. Very much just like, hey, like we have these really weird, being the unicorn for a lot of like things. So we just say the most out-pocket shit to each other all the time about our races and his race. It's kind of this really weird like camaraderie that we have when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like we played Tekken 3 yesterday, and of course I picked King because Rappler. And she goes to pick
Mexican.
Mexican. And she goes to pick the bear.
Oh, okay.
Because like, I get to play with a bear. She plays player 2, so she end up with the panda colors. Yeah. So I looked at her, I was like, they knew you were Chinese.
At first I thought you were gonna say the like Chinese girl Xiao Yu or.
She pressed over and she looked at it. I was like, no. It's like, you not wanna. I didn't even like. It's like, there's like different characters over here, and she sees Kuma, so it's like I'm gonna pick them, and it's like panda skin.
Adding to Tekken, like when I play Tekken, I play Lei Wulong because I love Jackie Chan so much. Yeah. Like that was my guy growing up.
I hated.
There's
because
like
my Taiwanese buddy picked Lei, man. Oh, yeah. Like I'm fortunate to not. I grew up with a diverse crew, but no blacks.
Right. You just say you just met me, so that explains that to me. Yeah. So.
But because. One of my best friends growing up, like down the street, Taiwanese, and we just like his was the house to be at, so just spending so much time in that different household, and then like I was saying, like Asian togetherness, like it's not though. But then like being at that different household, just like learning different things between like, our Asians do different things. Like we got similar things with like how we're dealing with rice and shit, and like similar values, but like seeing the cultural thing. Because like I have a lot of cultural similarities more to him than other Asians because of the Spaniards coming in and like pointing their guns and shooting
stuff. Yeah.
Being dreadful of shit, making sure you don't enjoy yourself too much. Family's everything. Like family togetherness. No, don't worry about the family.
Right.
And like the greeting in Tagalog is "Kumusta." Kumusta, which is a letter off from "Como esta."
Right.
Kumusta. We just take a letter out. Yeah. Like there's so many just crossover.
Yeah, I mean to the point where like
we just eat a little more rice.
Yeah, the point is
no tortilla. No, the difference is there's no tortillas.
There's no
in the Philippines. Otherwise, it's the same shit.
And we season our rice.
Yeah, just like slow cooked shredded pork.
Yeah, we love that
100%.
Shit. I mean, a lumpia is just a taco.
Yeah.
What?
Taco. A lumpia.
Lumpia. It's an egg roll.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's an egg roll.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a taquito. Taquito.
They're actually called flautas. Taquito, it is an American thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like how just where it's at changes the name. It's literally the same thing.
But it's
a Tex-Mex thing.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Like black people aren't a monolith, but then there are so few representations where we have to like, this is what I'm on this team. Mm-hmm. I'm on this team. Like it's not 1-to-1, but I can still connect with it, and it just matters so much. And we're at a place now where we're getting more of it, which is a great thing. Where more people can connect with something and like
Appreciate it.
people thinking, like specifically white people thinking of, like, what do you need representation for? Blah blah blah. Because the past week I was working with these two older conservative white gentlemen, and they're like, do you hear they made Superman's son gay or like bisexual? It's like, what's the like? I don't know why everybody, they're just checking boxes and whatnot. Like, here's the thing though: if representation doesn't matter, then why are you getting so upset about it? Why are you getting so upset about representation when representation doesn't matter? Of course, if you have that much of a negative reaction to it, like the inverse is happening positively for that group. Mm-hmm. Like, and also like talking to one of the younger of the older white guy, it's like, oh, you just like comic book movies. You don't actually like comics.
You don't actually read comics.
It's not for you, man.
Right.
You are a 44-year-old white dude. Like, you're not in the audience that's reading these comics for like a bisexual Superman.
Right.
You don't even read comics, so it's not for you. No, why are you complaining about
comics,
it, man?
You probably haven't ever read them. You just watch the movies,
You just like, no, not even like you grew up watching one TV show or like you tried to read the comics and then you realized like back then the comics sucked, so you didn't skip over them.
You probably just saw the movies.
And also, no one's taking anything away from you. We're just adding up.
That's the main thing.
Hey, you still have Clark Kent, his son Jonathan Kent. This just happens to be bisexual. Who gives?
Why does this feel like this?
You still have your straight white Superman.
Why does this happen like every 3 years? Like, what was it? Like 6 years ago, it was Black Spider-Man. It was Miles Morales.
Yes. Yeah.
And that blew up.
Well, Miles Morales has been longer than.
And that's another conversation to have because not only was he the first Black Spider-Man, he was also the first Latino one.
Right.
Yeah. But again, the blackness override the skin tone.
Yeah.
Nobody gave him credit for being biracial or Puerto Rican. No.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and this is the thing I always say.
Even though his last name's Morales.
And this is what I always say, and this always bothered me. His mom's PR. His last name shouldn't be Morales.
Well,
it should be like, what's his dad's last name? Like?
Jefferson Davis.
Yeah, so he should be Miles Davis, which I like that name.
Yeah, which is like the neat little joke.
My thing was, just switch the parents so this can make sense.
They weren't married at the time.
They weren't married at the time, and a lot of times with, so like, of course, you have the mother's last name. On top of that, like in a lot of like Latin cultures, your first last name is your dad's and then your mom's. Yeah.
But he's still a black dad, so he would have been like, "That's my son."
It would be like Davis. It would be like Davis Morales.
Yeah, but they don't call him Davis Morales.
But the thing is here's the thing, which you're not gonna understand, because I have two last names.
Right,
it's true.
I know that's the
main one we call him by isn't his.
You go by the maternal and paternal, correct?
You go paternal, maternal.
Yeah, paternal, maternal.
The thing is, when I moved to the United States, I was like, oh, that's your middle name, so they dropped my paternal last name.
Right.
So I use my maternal one.
So you just use your maternal
because that is a Latin thing because that's the one at the end. But in the United States, it's like, well, that's a Latin thing. We're in the United States.
Right.
That's your first last name. It's actually more like a middle name to us. So when I drop that, you're gonna be using your last one. So
look, I don't have a problem with that. That makes all the sense.
Yeah.
But both his parents aren't Latin. One is a black guy.
That's the thing, right?
You gotta read the comics.
You gotta remember.
There was like
gotta remember. Latin people, we fight for our culture. We want to make sure it's like, hey, like this is what it is. Want to make the conversation is always this. I want to make sure my kid knows he's Latino. So
and also the Latina.
You gotta know your black side too.
Yeah. Also the abuela, she's a real piece of work. She's a real see you next Tuesday.
But that's why I'm just like, I think it would have just been like. Just switch the last name.
There's a whole thing with it.
I mean, not the last name. Just switch the
Jefferson was.
Yeah, just make
Jefferson was busy during that time, man.
So you're just making it. You're making it worse because what they're saying is, oh, this black dad ain't there for his kid.
Well, he's a very strong father figure.
So he definitely would have had the last name.
He was doing undercover shit for S.H.I.E.L.D., bro.
Also, that's also the
shit. He was doing undercover shit for S.H.I.E.L.D. Also, don't talk about the comics unless you read that shit, man.
I don't have to, but if I see a name and then I know black culture,
but
just from an outside view, it's like, okay, that doesn't make sense.
Here's the smart design with that, though. Because outwardly, just immediately, a black audience will connect to him just because, like, we got that black representation.
Right.
But then you have the last name of Morales, and then you get Latinos.
Right.
You get that double representation, whereas you don't get that. I mean, it still leans black, but you don't get that Tiger situation where it's like, no, he's just black.
Right.
It's a smart move with the writing there.
Oh,
Yeah,
I get it. I get it, like, for the reason.
Yeah.
But just from a common sense thing, like, if I saw this person in real life...
Yeah, but this is splitting
that's why I'm
hairs,
just
though,
like...
man.
I don't think it's splitting hairs,
It
though.
is
This is part of the
splitting hairs.
representation.
I think you're splitting hairs because you're trying to add logic to a comic book that does not have grounds in reality.
But here's the thing. If we're going to start adding representation to things like that, if we're starting to care about, oh, well, we need characters to be black, or, oh, we need them to be bisexual, we're going to have to start kind of putting that in a little. Like, we still got to have some logic. That's why I'm just like, you can't do it now.
Well, some people just don't have, like,
Well, that's the point.
Like,
if some people don't have it, you gotta show them.
Well, here's the thing: if you need representation, sometimes it needs to be forced, and you know what? Like, fuck it, he's Latino. Yeah. We're doing it this way,
and I'm okay. Let me just say that I'm okay with that. That's not the problem. The problem is just make the dad Puerto Rican and make the mom black.
That's the problem. It's like we have to jump through hoops to be able to do this. Like, no, just fuck it. This is what it is. This is how we're gonna know they're Latino. Doesn't have to make sense.
And also,
this is what it is. And I think that's a point where, like, I don't like the phrase forced representation.
Right.
Yeah. Will be a point where it will be forced representation because it has to jump logic in order for it to make sense.
But do you think a white guy made that? Or
Brian Bendis? He's white.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. I'll get it. Like, it's also a positive move because that stereotype of black fathers not being involved. You have a strong father, you have a strong male role model being in the picture. So I think that's a necessary thing where even though he is very constructed to be a token, like, it was very smartly done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because the thing with, like, if I recall, because we talk about how Ryan Michael Bendis, who created Miles Morales, white guy. But it was he did it so well, though. And the thing with him is that he has black kids. I think he adopted 2 black daughters.
Okay.
So, like, a lot of that is he's aware of blackness, and he has that in his life. Kind of like in a way where people give Bill Burr shit for, like, oh, he's being racist.
Right, he has a
but then it's
wife.
like, his family's black.
Yeah, he has a black
But the thing
family.
is, he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't, like,
he does.
I'm
like,
woke. I have a
virtue
black
signal.
family.
He
Exactly.
doesn't tokenize.
Yeah.
He doesn't tokenize.
He's like,
you have to, like, find out about that.
He's got a black wife and 2 black kids. Like, he's...
Right.
You know who also has
And
a
they're
black
black
wife?
kids.
George Lucas.
What?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Right on, dude.
And Bret Hart has, like,
then why are his
girlfriend.
movies so racist?
Jar Jar Binks. That's what his wife wanted.
Because apparently...
First wife or second wife black?
The first one, because she was the editor for the first trilogy.
Okay, so that's the one who fucked the stained glass artist?
I think so.
Oh, she's a cheater?
There's a whole fucking
Oh,
thing.
now you know why Jar Jar Binks exists.
It's hilarious. Yeah, because Jar Jar Binks is post-divorce, so it doesn't make sense.
You're lucky we didn't have, like, white people with blackface.
I don't know. Because that's the thing with the article with Mike Williams, because I, like, mentioned something in the comments, and then he responded to, like, my comment, and then we had a bit of dialogue, because I think we were talking about something like either Shang-Chi or Luke Cage.
Okay.
It's just like, yeah, stuff was just a bunch of white editors forcing that shit in there. But then he was like, he made the point of, like, even though it was forced and, like, done by a white guy, it still had a positive good. Right. And then that's when it's like, oh yeah. Yeah. Like, even though it's just like, even though we have these weird corporate intentions with a lot of representation now.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
you're gonna
good
have
things
that
are coming from it. Like, with the Eternals movie.
Even on purpose or not. Good things are coming from it. Yeah.
Like, with the Eternals movie, it's... It feels like a gross idea of representation where it's like, we're going to get the most diverse cast in a Hollywood budget movie, but, like, you're kind of just checking all the boxes here, like
because it kind of
one
looks
of
like
each,
that.
one of each, one of each, one of each.
Yeah, I'm like
one
you're
of
getting
each.
like middle age,
Yeah,
like
but
Latin women involved.
But you have like
which looks great.
Kumail Nanjiani talking about
so
that
fun.
of just like but I have this platform where kids like me can see like I can be superhero too, and also like I'm not just like the computer nerd guy. I'm not just like the tech support guy. I'm not like a cabbie guy. I'm a superhero.
And I think that's the important part. It's not what you aren't. It's like you can literally be anything.
Yeah, like I want to go full blown, like be a superhero, like not just be like the skinny nerdy Indian guy. Like I'm getting.
I want to be. I don't want to be the sidekick. I want to be.
Yeah,
the main
I'm
guy.
getting ripped. I'm gonna maybe pop some tea in because, like, you did some testosterone. You know. Public secret. No one openly talks about it, but it's like, you did.
But
did.
no, that.
But yeah,
But let me just finish that off about the Miles thing. I like him as a character.
Yeah,
I think everybody likes him as a character. I love it. That's why the name has just always been like that little thing where it's like just so close.
But the thing is like you just made your own counterpoints. Like at the very end of the day, like it ended up being good.
Oh yeah, I'm not arguing that. That's why I'm saying that little bit. Then, just to me as personal, like.
Then why are you splitting hairs?
Yeah, because
I can still.
They're like
you can still like comment on something, still love it, and be like, it could have been so close to perfection.
I'm okay to look at that with like from a critical lens, but that's just like such a non-issue.
And also like
all of this is a non-issue when you think about it. Like, but I don't want to go that route. Yeah. I don't want to go that route of none of this matters. Yeah. But this matters, so I'm talking about it like it matters because we're taking it serious.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, just that, like, if it was a 100 out of score, it'd be like a 98, 99. Yeah. Like, you're right, it is splitting hairs, like, when you think about it, but that's what we do. That's why we're talking. Like, just to get everything out there. Just, like, that could have,
also,
I don't know, it just could have been switched. Like,
works.
I don't, is there...
It works for a sense also, because there are people out there who don't have their father's last name, but like we have a cohesive working working family unit
but his
just because they don't have a ring.
That's the problem.
No, but like you could still
his dad's alive.
You have couples who are together who aren't married though. Is the thing.
Right,
you just like it's like a Modern Family. You just have that whatever. It's like, also like that's another topic, but I'll I'm not going to talk about Modern Family.
That's a whole
I have positive things to say about that, but if we ever do like an intersection of race and sexual identity sort of thing, like maybe because Cam and Mitch are a great couple in terms of representation. I'll just go into it because it's representation.
You got it.
Even though it's a white couple,
that's the gay couple.
Yeah, one's actually gay.
Those are the. That's without a doubt some of the best. That's like without a doubt one of the best gay relationships on television, because like around the same time, that came out. There was like another show on another network called I think it was called The New Normal, but that
sounds familiar.
Well, it sucked ass.
Okay,
but a lot of it was just it stuck to the same heteronormative. Roles where like you had Andrew Rannells who like who's in Book of Mormon and all that stuff, so he's playing the more flamboyant one, but then he also has like all the feminine traits and all the like I don't know what football is and blah blah blah, and then like the other one was just like I'm the breadwinner. I like man stuff and like. So
they just pretty much just gave.
Yeah,
like,
but it was still just like.
Thing.
Yeah, it was still. It was pretty much.
Yeah.
Here's like the husband and the wife situation. Right. Whereas Cam and Mitch, it's a nuanced. They're nuanced people
it's
of
a
just
relationship.
Where have you seen the show?
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Like
I've seen a couple episodes. Okay. They're very much a lot of white gays I met.
Yeah, but whereas like Cam, a lot of the times he's the more dramatic, flamboyant one.
The fat one, right?
Like, he's the more effeminate one.
Yes.
But then he's also, he grew up in the Midwest playing football.
Yeah.
So, like, even though he's the more effeminate one,
He's
he switches back and forth of being like
it is more
he's the physically tougher one. He's like he's a football coach.
That couple. It is what I like about that couple very much is that they're very much like fully realized characters on their own way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the new normal, because I barely remember, they're very much pigeonholed.
They had one season, so that's fair.
The whole, like, gay
I'm the old white racist lady.
It is straight up. Yeah. It was very much a, like, we're gonna play a wife and husband couple.
Yeah.
We're just gonna make them both of them dudes.
Right.
That's
exactly. Yeah.
Instead of, like, actually writing a character.
So it was like a show from, like, the 90s, and they were like, let's try to modern it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whereas, like, Cam and Mitch,
you can believe those people exist in real life, Cam and Mitch. You can actually be like, I can see him.
I can tell you this for sure. When I was on Grindr, I for sure met Cam. I was, like, I know you're Latino, but, like, you don't really look Latino, so I could, like, use some spice in my life. Yeah. I'm just, like, you're gross. I'm gonna milk you.
But again, like, representation and exposure of just... Yeah. Like, when I was growing up, like, gay, like, you have RuPaul and John Waters, that's it. And then...
I grew up with John Waters, who was great.
Yeah. And then it opened up to, with Will and Grace, a representation of, like, oh, there's... Gay people there's more. You still have Jack, who's like who leans heavily into stereotypes and whatnot, and he's like heavy comic relief. Mm-hmm. But then Will is just more.
He's the straight man.
Yeah,
he's the straight.
He's the straight man for comedy, and also
Mm-hmm.
And then you could like
Karen was the.
You have that step from like John Waters and RuPaul to like we got more nuance, more depth to these characters, and then the step from Jack and Will to Cam and Mitch of just like, okay, they're just people are people, and then like, yeah, man,
there will be the ones
just like you and me, people. Yeah.
They're very much the ones that will like play up to the theatrics and stuff like that. Like I very much consider myself into having a very flamboyant masculinity. Where I like play out the theatrics, the drama and stuff like that, but that's just because that's what I fucking like to do. I like being a nuisance. I like adding fuel to the fire. And if it needs to be me just popping up the hand like that and just making like, talking like, take the mannerisms from like a Latino woman, like I'll do it just because it's fun to me. Because like that's how I like to be my vibe. I will still fuck you up though. I will still fuck you up.
Something my ex pointed out to me is I love twirling.
Twirling?
Just doing a little pirouette.
Like fun. Wait, with the little...
No, like spinning around and putting a little flourish like when you're going in the kitchen.
It feels good.
I love it, man.
It feels good.
Wearing some socks on some tiles. Feels good. I love it, man. But
twirling make me dizzy.
Yeah, just
wait until you try frolicking.
I don't know. Something
with some flowers.
Yeah. Something I hate about representation, like something beautiful about Miles Morales, is making a new character, making something fresh and that people could call their own.
Yeah.
Rather than like. There's talk
changing to Peter Parker being black.
Yeah, better than because you could still have Peter Parker and Miles Morales, man.
Like it doesn't erase Peter Parker's. This is a thing. It's I can also be for you, but this means the
and also they have different histories and different characters, even though some of it reflects each other.
I still like Peter.
But like something I don't like is when we're race swapping them.
Yeah,
there's not like...
I don't mind in certain occasions. Like
they don't do it right.
They don't do it right most of the time. But one of the few times where I feel like...
certain location?
Green Lantern. For the DC...
With the actual animated series?
Yeah. No, that's not a swap, though. Because John Stewart is a very different character, and they represent John Stewart
But the thing is like, that's a thing. Because it's like, that's very surface level, but... It leads into that conversation. Oh, they made the Green Lantern black. It's like, well, yeah, because the Green Lantern, it is a title. It is not a person.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and Kyle Rayner, if you want a Green Lantern, a white Green Lantern, he shows up at some point.
Right.
Justice League Unlimited.
But I think the problem is it's like literally like color swap. With the Green Lanterns, those are like two different people. Like these two could actually meet in their world.
You just swap an actor, but then... Like the backstory of the character doesn't reflect that experience at all.
The lady. The
Tilda
Swinton as the ancient one. Yeah. That one's interesting, though, because...
Isn't the ancient one an alien, though?
She was supposed to be Tibetan.
Ancient one is, But the thing is, if you want to sell in China, you can't represent Tibet.
China.
Fair.
Ooh.
But the thing is, China's weird. But the thing, people give shit
about
people give shit about Disney of like you're kowtowing to China, but like,
aren't
you supposed to be about free capitalism? That's pure capitalism. It's like we're going to pursue. We're going to pursue the largest market in the world. That's pure capitalism.
And that's my my problem whenever we're having these conversations of like diversity and stuff like that. You just can't. You can't on account of capitalism. I don't like capitalism. I think it's a sham. Blah blah blah. There's a whole other different conversation.
Yeah,
but
I'm an Andrew Yang guy, even though I love Shane Gillis.
I can't. But like ultimately, just like you said, like they have to cater to the biggest market. So and guess what? They don't like the bet very much.
But guess what? That's their fault because it's always been a deal like, oh, free market, let the market do capitalism.
That's another thing. I love that free market people get fucking mad whenever there's like a diversity change because like free market, we wanted to make it this way to build this thing.
I'm like, but this is what's happening. So that's what you deserve now.
China's a whole other thing. But the thing with like, why the ancient one works. Is because they reinterpret it for that casting change. It's not like they made Tilda Swinton. I put that on the playlist, man.
I haven't put it in my Xbox.
It's cool as shit, yet. Dude. But
I think that's my second favorite Marvel movie.
It's so cool. Yeah. But
he's my favorite.
Why Tilda Swinton works, fellow Asians.
You tell them.
Here's the thing. Asian activists are there's some of the biggest wieners out there in terms of they tried to cancel Awkwafina for using a black accent, even though she's Nora from Queens. She grew up in hip hop culture.
Yeah, I thought that's how she spoke.
The problem is like she dropped the accent as soon as she got famous and started being like actually like but again, in big name stuff.
Code switching, man.
Yeah.
Code switching. If you're in the hip hop scene making hip hop music, you, like, a lot of rappers don't sound like how they talk.
No.
Like, fucking, who's the guy from Detroit?
Who?
No. Like,
what year?
I can't remember. He's, like, a recent guy.
Oh, I know you're talking about, Big Sean.
Nah, fuck. I can't remember how this song... This song was used in, like, a Borderlands 3 trailer.
Oh,
Danny Brown.
Oh, Danny Brown.
Danny Brown raps nothing like how he talks.
Oh, no.
Like... Asians were trying to cancel Shang-Chi because Awkwafina rapped different from how she talked. Which is like, you fucking wieners. You fucking wieners.
But that goes with not knowing somebody else's culture at that point. Like, black people do that amongst ourselves just for rap.
There's very few people that I will say, like, going back to, there's very few people I can like pinpoint like he sounds
like his rap voice or his entertainer voice.
That's the game.
Like
that's fair, yeah.
And with
I'm like Easy.
I love like West Coast rappers just like rap the same way.
Yeah.
We can't give shit to people for code switching. Like we'll do it within our own cultures, man.
Right.
Like when, like I think it's so stupid, but like a ton of Filipinos born here. Will put on an accent for when they're talking to an old person from the old country. It's
really?
Like, yeah. They're like,
why?
Put like a slight, I don't know. They can feel more comfortable.
Have to go through it. Like whenever I speak
like
with,
you didn't sell out or something.
Whenever I speak out like people with like whenever I speak with people that are like from Mexico or like older Puerto Rican or older like Latin like the older people, like I will thicken up my accent and it's just like a normal thing for me.
Yeah.
Wait, makes them feel up your accent.
Makes them feel at home, man. Makes the old folks feel at home, man. But yeah,
I'm also like in sales, so like I have to do it to get the sale. But you also like it's just like it's like a normal.
Oh, so you do? Okay, I get you.
So it's worth like it's both a work thing. And it's also like a force thing to me. Like I just do it without thinking.
What we're on? Oh yeah, why the ancient one works because they didn't have Tilda Swinton try to play a Tibetan,
right?
Because they like Sorcerer Supreme, Ancient One is just a title. It's not that person's name. It's not like they tried to make Tilda Swinton into
the Lubu. Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Or something. Yeah, but like Tilda Swinton, like they changed the Ancient One to being a Scottish mystic,
right?
To represent like
that makes sense.
That's why that worked. It's not they're pursuing capitalism. It's not racist necessarily because. they're not having a white person try to play an Asian.
Right.
They're having like they change the background of that character to.
I feel really
Asian.
weird. I feel really weird about
there's,
that.
Again, like there's tons of nuance.
Yeah,
I feel like really weird about that just because Iron Man 3 does a really fun thing with the Mandarin. Where it's like it's not done well, I think.
Well, no, it's
because the way that they try to do Mandarin is the same way that the Watchmen tried. The ending of the Watchmen is like they have this common like end bad guy that everyone can like rally up behind them, but it's the Mandarin that plays this really like it's a British guy playing a like.
Have you seen like you don't watch Marvel movies? You haven't seen Iron Man 3 though.
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
yeah. So wait, so it's a British guy playing who?
Playing a really weird like pseudo Middle Eastern, pseudo Asian guy, and then you find out later that the Mandarin is actually all an act. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
He just got paid by like the Raganist to be this bad guy. That way, Iron Man can rally behind.
It's a false flag, baby.
And then the Raganists end up being the bad guy, and then he has all the marks of the original Mandarin, like the dragon tattoos, the rings, everything.
But
which is a really weird like you split up the character into two things. One of them my concept, and the other one the real character.
Right.
And I think that's
the way they do the Mandarin in Shang-Chi is great because they comment on the way they play with the Iron Man 3 stuff is excellent. Where I'm not going to spoil anything, but they play on it pretty fucking awesome.
Wait, we should see Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
because Shang-Chi like
the
main bad guy is like Mandarin.
Yeah, the Mandarin, and they even have a good comments on the.
I gotta rewatch Iron Man 3 so I can.
They have a whole thing of. In Shang-Chi, where it's like I've been called many names throughout history because he's immortal.
Right.
Just they even called me called me like a food reference or blah blah blah, but they do it in a really smart way. Because also with like why Shang, I was watching a one of the video game YouTube channels I watch. They did like a spoiler cast for Shang-Chi, and it was like 3 millennial white dudes. Just like, oh fuck, is this gonna be as shitty as I think it is? And then like, oh, it was, because like as an Asian watching Shang-Chi, again, dope ass representation and cultural reflection. Like I connected with it much more because they touch on issues of being like an Asian American, which are like, which is which those 3 white Midwestern dudes.
Right.
Didn't like pick up or talk about at all. Whereas that stuff I connected with, where when the Mandarin just asks Awkwafina's character like, "Oh, what's your name?" Like, but what's your real name? Because like that's a common practice of like not with Filipinos, but
with like Chinese.
Yeah, like Chinese or like Thai people or like we have this traditional name. And then when you come over to America, just for the paperwork, like, and just for
my name Bruce,
just for like immersion and like not immersion's not the right word, but fucking
to like I know
when you're just like just to get along easier, like like my buddy Jason naturalize it, like my 2 of my buddies who I still talk to from grade school, Jason and Sid, like those aren't their birth names. Like, my buddy Sid, his name's Shaudi.
Yeah.
But then, like, no, Sid, like, his parents lived for a time in Sydney, so, like, yeah, we're for white society, you're Sydney.
Right.
And then, I can't remember Jason's government name, but, like, yeah, it's common practice,
I had a friend like that in high school. His name was Hao Tong, but his, like, American name was Leo. And he came from, like, Beijing, and he just got there, and he already had an American name, which I found interesting.
I lived in Arizona for like a little bit. One of my Vietnamese friends, her name was Phuc.
What you want?
No, it was like PHO with something on top of it and a K.
So they definitely made her change her name.
Yeah, she went by Sarah.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah,
you gotta get that white name.
The whitest name.
You gotta get that white name. But yeah, this. Shang-Chi's really dope because, like, we haven't had that kind of mainstream Hollywood Asian representation in a long time. Like, well, he had Crazy
Long
Rich
time,
Asians,
ever.
but like we had Crazy Rich Asians, but like whatever.
But that's just like East
I'm not
Asian.
into that.
I'm like, I feel like that wasn't even representation
Yeah.
like the right way.
I
Because it's
think
like,
it is.
it was elitist to an extent, right?
Well, it's very
I'm like, not every Asian person's rich.
no,
Like,
but it's yeah. Because it buys into that fairy tale rom-com thing, so there are the weird trappings of that genre.
yeah, that's
So,
the
like,
genre, so that's why I kind of feel
does like I won't see it because it doesn't interest me,
like, right.
and also that's like, but like before then we had Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Jackie Chan. There was like a good span of no like solid big budget
martial arts.
Yeah.
We had Antonio Banderas, which is not even Mexican.
He's
not
straight up
Mexican.
Spaniard, right?
He's Spaniard.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're
he's full
right.
in
He's
Spaniard.
technically white.
He's
a white man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Spain is
we had
white place.
We had Antonio Banderas for forever.
Hey, you had a ton of Robert Rodriguez movies.
Still thinking about it.
What else you got?
Spy Kids.
Spy Kids, yeah,
we had
that's
Spy
right.
Kids, and even then they were a little like.
Which is
Spy
hold
Kids.
on.
I
That's
know.
the cool thing with Spy Kids is again representation, like for children, showing like Latin Americans and also like mixed kids, right? Because was there a white guy in the family, or is that the later movies?
The problem is like all the kids are super light skinned, sort of like acceptable Latino, acceptable Hispanic. The only one that's brown, it's the rougher looking dude that's bad, and that's Machete.
You know, and that's
a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing with
coding
colors.
and skin color.
It's funny you say that because I always felt like Mexicans were lighter skinned because of that. Like I never knew like Mexicans got.
And that was
I didn't know that they could get as dark as me.
And that's the thing with representation. You had a skew view because that was the only thing that we were
always thought
shown.
they were light skin. I was like, so before I even knew that, when you guys were being called brown, I'm like, they're not really brown though.
No, they're Hollywood brown.
Yeah. Right. But when you actually see like the group,
they're
Cameron
Cameron Diaz brown.
Yeah.
Is she actually?
She's half Cuban.
No shit.
Yeah, her dad is Cuban.
Yeah, I'm like, I knew.
Whoa! I thought she was like a Spaniard type situation. Like,
no, her dad is Cuban.
She's legit.
Fun thing with Tom Segura, he's straight up he's Peruvian.
Yeah,
Peruvian.
Yeah.
Whereas like
he's half Spanish, right? Half Spanish, half Peruvian.
Yeah, but then like his Spanish side is just so diluted and white and American.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Like
Tom Segura.
With Tom Segura, yeah, he's great. Like
I wish I could hear his Spanish.
It's
hilarious.
Like
I don't understand.
Yeah, I've listened to a couple of podcasts, but I'm only making like every fifth word. But yeah, there's a thing with his dad of just like Tom and Tom's mom will like correct him like it's not Segura, it's Segura. It's like I'm just Segura.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Like that's Japanese. Like Segura.
Segura. You make anything sound Japanese.
Seeing,
you say it like that.
Tom Segura next year?
Smith.
I'll be down.
I'm down.
Right. If it's not sold out, it might be by then because he blew up. He's doing arenas this tour.
Good for him.
Which I'm not exactly down for seeing comedians in arenas. Like I prefer smaller venues.
Yeah, that's the power of podcast. You have a good podcast, then you get.
Talia Hall is as big as I like to go with like seeing comedy.
It's a good venue.
Yeah, I love Talia Hall.
I watched once in there, and it was like an experience.
Yeah, because I've seen comedy in Chicago theater. It's not the same, man. It's like
you're so far removed.
The only thing I've done in Chicago,
Flew Borg ran around like the fucking all the aisles, which was fun.
The only thing I've ever seen in a Chicago theater was League of Legends Worlds. I've seen World Championship there.
I can't remember. I watched some band. I can't remember what it was.
We've back to representation.
Slavery.
Something
cool?
about why the FGC is cool. It's got the most diverse representation.
Oh, dude! I always talk about that. About like out of all the esports, like they have the most diversity. Yeah. I think that's why it's also the most like fun or entertaining. Yeah.
It's also the one with the most smack talk of them all.
Yes,
which makes a lot of sense.
And like we talked about this last episode.
All the brown people are in it.
We talked about this. Because a lot of that is
it's power,
like that urban thing
culture.
of shit talking and all right, brief tangent. Can we bring back urban? Why did urban become like you can't say that? Like there's again with my experience of just
white
like
people.
The suburban black guys I grew up with are way different from an urban black guy.
Well,
Of course.
And even like an urban Latino, different from a suburban Latino, urban white dude, way different from urban is an okay term, man.
Well, that's because
Urban
white people
is-
made urban just black.
Black,
That's correct.
Like, so the suburban black guy.
That is correct. That is correct because
Can we, like,
it's because we want to be able to hit up
Keep
like
it PC.
urban
we want to make
with this
sure
role.
we
It's like,
we want to make sure we
no.
cater to black people, but we're gonna say specifically to black people.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're gonna start saying
Urban, even though, like you said, there's suburban blacks, suburban Latinos.
Yeah.
Urban. I'm like, so you can't call them urban because that's just wrong.
I've
'cause
heard,
that's not where
but
they're
that's
from.
the thing. I've heard the kind of pushback was like urban at this point because it's so diluted because it's so diluted with so many other different cultures and races just being into the melting pot.
Yeah.
That urban can is on its own thing, but then you go back to like, does urban mean also punk? Does it also mean hip hop? Does it mean ska? Does it mean this many things?
I think
What does urban mean?
we have the term hip hop culture now,
Yeah.
so I think that's
That's taking the place of it, kind of.
yeah. So I guess we don't need urban, but you can't say like
But that's the thing. That's another
I don't
thing.
know.
Whenever you mean hip hop, do you mean like black culture?
Yeah, again,
Right,
there's that
that's the
assumption of
thing.
black.
It goes back to that assumption of black. So like I've heard the pushback is like urban could definitely mean like street culture, which would represent hip hop, could
Right.
represent ska, could represent punk, could represent these other cultures that are predominantly one
You
race.
say ska?
He did.
Ska's white as fuck, bro.
So no, ska started like in the 1970s.
Oh, I know the origins of
Okay.
ska, but ska's white as fuck, bro.
Let's.
Is it kind of like the rock and roll thing where black people made it and then
No.
It was a solidarity thing from like Jamaican immigrants and like immigrants and Caribbean immigrants into like England, because both of them were like, that's why the black and white squares,
Right.
the solidarity, the checkerboard is the black immigrants and the black working class and the white working class working the same factories and just having fun and integrating music of dub and patois into like rock and roll and rockabilly, and which developed into ska.
Okay.
It's still music for virgins, but
you got burn ska, folks.
Ska
like
Bird.
that is.
Streetlight Manifest is a pretty dope band, though.
I really like. God, I forgot the name of
lost
the
my
artist.
V-card.
I forgot the name of the artist, but like they put up an album that's called like Ska Forever, and it's so fucking good. And also shout out to Scatoon Network. They're great. They've been putting out a bunch of
This isn't a
good
ska
recommendations.
podcast.
They also talk about emo, anyways. But yeah,
Has anybody ever called emo urban?
Emo or nah.
Right.
It's like no, I don't.
That doesn't exist.
even though it goes back to like the 80s and maybe like the make explosion in the 90s with mineral and American football, early 2000s mineral, American football, and all this
I
kind
love
of
American
stuff.
football.
Yeah,
band,
like
not
it's
the
predominantly it is
I was thinking the sport over
The
that.
sport sucks.
it is predominantly like a white suburban like genre.
Okay. I didn't even know there was a team or a band called American Football.
I'm gonna do you one
That's
better.
hilarious.
There
You're
is
sick, though.
there's an
Okay,
emo
I'll check
math
that out.
rock band from I want to say Shanghai, or I could be wrong, maybe Wuhan, whatever.
Wuhan.
Called Chinese
Now,
football.
Wuhan.
Called Chinese
Chinese
football,
football?
and they're fucking great. They're
So,
fucking great.
I gotta check out American football and Chinese football.
I mean, if you can
Okay.
speak Cantonese, go for it.
I can't.
Yeah, those
Okay.
fucking Cantos. But
That's
a-
funny because my
it's-
girlfriend's Cantonese, and like I
Yeah.
hear so much
Fuck.
discourse between Mandarin and Cantonese.
No, fuck
apparently,
the Cantos, bro.
apparently
fuck
Can-
the Cantos.
apparently Canto is called the Chinese language. It's called the chicken language.
Yeah.
Why?
Because all of the sounds are like so like Piccolo.
Oh, like
yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
so
That's
talk,
hilarious.
Yeah, fuck. Dude,
So they
Like,
got two languages
I-
in China.
yeah,
Yeah.
more.
There's more.
There's more, yeah,
But
the
those
two
are
primary.
Right, the two primary, yeah. That's crazy.
So, like, I grew up with fake hatred for the Cantos,
Mm-hmm.
just because my buddy Sid grew up as a northerner speaking Mandarin, and Mandarin is the official language of the People's Republic of China.
Oh, well.
Mandarin is where it's at. And then also, like, my other buddy being Taiwanese, like, they speak Mandarin. So there's, like, fuck the
That's
Cantos.
the Canto.
So, like, I have a lot of that in there. And, like, a fun... Like, and that's the thing with,
A
again...
fun race war.
racism and like cultural and ethnic differences, it's not exclusive to America or skin color. Just like the historical backgrounds of like fuck Cantonese people. Because,
That's why the FGC is the purest thing,
Yeah.
because the
Right.
FGC only
Dude,
only cares for one thing, and that's power.
Yeah. Talking about that last episode. But yeah, like a fun thing. We went to Chinatown of just like trying to talk to a waitress and then like, oh, she doesn't speak English. Sid, can you take over? And then Sid was talking to her like, she doesn't speak Mandarin. I guess we're just pointing at the menu now.
What are you doing here?
So it's really funny because since M speaks Cantonese a little bit, not as much as they used to apparently.
She speaks a trash language, is what you're saying.
That's a thing that
Jesus.
they get a lot
They
because
get
a lot because
Jesus.
not only that, because of Cantonese, they speak a very specific like dialect of it.
Yeah, like especially if you're Hong Kong.
Well, it's like south of Hong Kong, which is Toisan.
I'm like, how south can you get?
Yeah.
Rice fields.
Well, it's like, yeah.
So
is it like the southern hick language of China?
It apparently is hick Chinese.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Like, oh man.
It's great. I love it.
So, like, a
Because
lot
the
of
Spanish I speak is very much like West Coast, which is like for poor village town. Which
my
I
God.
also got a lot of shit on from the way I spoke Spanish. Growing up, living in like a place like Monterey, which is like higher northern parts. Yeah, I spoke hick Spanish.
Yeah.
This
Like,
is what
a
black
lot of
people
it
are
is
missing.
just...
We don't have this.
Like, even because my mom's from closer to Manila and my dad's from, like, the boonies, even she mentions, like, they got some weird phrases over where he's
That's
from.
so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, some of it's just, like, a syllable difference, but she's like, oh, those fucking
Like, you
guys.
will
What a weirdo. I can't believe I married this guy.
You drop para to pa.
Okay.
It's complete. People look at you differently because the actual words like dame esa cosa para la cosa.
Yeah.
And
But-
then you say...
But if you say dame la cosa pa la cosa, you drop the the
Right.
para,
Mhm.
and people look at you differently. Like, oh, you're not really well like thought. Like, you're an idiot. Like, what's going on? You know how to speak proper Spanish. Like, you're an idiot. You're dumb. Here's some coins since you're poor.
Oh
Like,
my
well.
God. That's so messed up.
Well, yeah, you guys don't use proper Spanish because
Oh no,
vosotros is the way to go.
I fucking hate vosotros.
Oh my God.
We don't say
You ustedes hogs.
I remember...
we say
being like-
vosotros. We switch from vosotros. We call you pendejos. That's what.
I'm like, I remember
Vosotras,
even at
vosotras.
elementary school, they had vosotros on the board and just never taught us that.
It's
Like,
all about the ahí sending.
That's another thing. That's
Conjugation.
Castellan That's Castellan Spanish, which is just a whole nother kind of worm.
That's
Hey,
like Madrid, right?
That's the
Okay.
again. That's the people's Spanish. Fuck your Catalan, your
Hey,
separatist
don't
bullshit.
diss us.
Fuck Barca, bro. Real Madrid. It's all about nationalism, bro. Fuck your independence, Barca.
Barca don't have
But,
no
okay.
power now since...
You know
Yeah.
who else uses vosotros, which I don't like, and I think that's another thing. Like, I grew up like. I have money, but I didn't have money. It's a whole nother
Some middle class.
situation. No. Like I grew up like having to hold water from the river like half an hour away to like do my clothes.
Okay, so just not the super board.
No, it's really weird. It's a whole
Okay.
nother thing, which I'm not getting into because it's a whole nother story.
Right.
I have a clear distaste for like people with money.
Oh, that makes sense with the capitalism. Hey.
Which legally I will have to say I love capitalism. Yeah, if you're an immigrant, you can't have any connotations to like communism.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so messed up because
socialism.
I can say that all the time.
Yeah.
I'll be like, yo, capitalism sucks.
Yeah.
I'm a commie.
like-
I can say that and get away with
Yeah.
it.
Well, there's. But
I fucking hate Argentinians. That was my point. That was going to. I
I
fucking
love
hate.
Oh my God,
I hate how they speak. I think they're full of shit.
Anya
I
Taylor
feel like
Joy,
they're
baby.
Italian.
Well, that's the thing. Like most of them are Germans because a bunch of Nazis.
Because of the
Yeah, came out.
Because
Operation
Nazis.
Paperclip, yeah.
Exactly. So they escaped, and it's like so. Most of them are like very
Well,
white Anglo-Saxon looking motherfuckers,
Yeah.
and I hate them with a
Well,
passion.
that's the thing
You
with
should.
like.
They got Nazi blood.
Maradona has a quote saying like, "God wishes he was Argentinian."
Of course he
Yeah,
has
but
that
he was
quote.
also like a comrade. He had like a Che tattoo, which
But-
also an Argentinian.
And he also
That's-
loved his drugs.
That might be the only Argentinian I respect.
Hey, that's
That's the thing with like.
No, Maradona, Che.
Oh, okay.
Separation between like what it was explained to me, like the separation between Mandos and Cantos. The Cantonese, since they're southern, they have more connections to the British, especially with the Hong Kong situation. So like
that makes sense.
the mainlanders, like those fucking uppity wannabe whites of just like these wannabe British people.
That's why they should just
Which
leave
is,
Hong Kong
like-
to itself. And
Well, that's a
That's a whole other kind of war.
we could have a whole thing
that
on
could
China
that could
and
literally
Hong-
be just its own
with the
thing.
one China policy, Hong Kong, Taiwan. I'm Team Taiwan,
I'm also Team Taiwan,
which
and
is
Team Hong Kong.
which.
I'm very anti.
Yeah, which
Chinese government.
we're not pro. We'll get we won't be able. This podcast won't be able to play in China because
I don't know. I could give a ROM to M to give it to her cousins or something.
Yeah,
And
well,
then they all get in trouble.
And
they
they're like,
got
I
in
don't.
trouble because they don't support the one China policy. No,
No, it would be
let's
like,
round
we
them
don't
up.
speak English. What's going
Yeah.
on?
Right, exactly. Right.
Fucking can't
What are
tell,
they
bro.
saying?
Why is this Chinese-looking guy does not look Chinese?
Yeah.
Oh my
But
god. That's so
yeah,
funny.
But yeah, like
FGC diverse.
the more I would say, I'll have to say up there for the more diverse. But then again,
Yeah.
I'm kind of like in my own pocket
You
And
I don't-
FGC.
with FGC because whenever
got
it's like,
Puerto Ricans. There's
Well-
not a lot of Mexicans in
Well,
representation.
well,
It depends
saying-
on the game, though.
For-
well,
yeah,
I'm
that's
saying
true.
more for
King of Fighters.
King of Fighters though.
Yeah, King of Fighters. Guys.
I was
Huge.
Huge.
That's
I was
south of the
SNK
border.
talking.
Yeah.
I was talking about that with M yesterday. It's like because I was explaining like, because I forgot how we got into it, and it was like fighting against some Mexicans. So I was like, oh, bro, like this is why, especially King of Fighters. So I showed her the Ramon clip. I was like, oh, did he really say "Viva Mexico" at the end? So yeah, like why wouldn't he?
Yeah. But like,
SNK, man,
We're-
they own south of the border.
if you look at other esports, it's like, all right, we got Swedish guys and Korean guys. That's it.
and they're
Yeah.
so lame.
Whereas you could in the FGC, you could root for somebody who's like you have a cultural connection with. Like, dude, F Champ, love that guy.
no.
He's great.
Love
And
that
he's a
guy.
beast, too, and
He's
that
Filipino,
helps.
He
and
talks so
also
much shit, too.
he's the
And that's cool too.
he's one of the
he
like
has
the
character.
he's up there for like being a heel in the FGC, man. I love
and
him.
he plays a
There's
unique
a-
character,
yeah.
which I
love
always love guys
Filipino
who play
champ, and then-
random guys like Dowson. Like that's top tier to me. Like you play somebody that no one really plays.
There's
One
just-
of now we're talking about race and FGC. One of the things I've noticed, I love the people I go for, except for FAB because he's Japanese. I love the character.
Grappler trash.
I love. Well, that's the thing. A lot of black people play grapplers, so I love always end up seeing myself like Imagine Obama, Imagine Obama, Snake Eyes.
Yeah, Snake Eyes.
Does Mike Ross? No, I was thinking Snake Eyes. Who
I
did
was
Mike
think-
Ross play?
Oh,
He plays Shotos.
'Cause,
I'm
my-
Russian.
yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to think of the guy from Tekken.
Snake Eyes plays Zangief, right?
You know who I'm talking about? The guy who plays King.
He has a wonderful.
Oh yeah,
smile.
who the guy who slayed the Tekken guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name though because
Oh
I
my
don't
god!
care enough about Tekken.
I'm
But
so mad because he's so good. But
Yeah.
he's a grappler guy too.
Mm-hmm.
He uses and his king is so godlike.
It's so
well,
fucking
that's
good.
that's the thing.
Like,
with-
he can actually get chain throws out.
Yeah.
with how diverse the FGC is, you have all these players you can connect with, and because you have that diversity with the players, you have that diversity in rosters.
Right.
So you could root for a character who looks like you, or you'd root for a player who looks like you.
Right.
Whereas fucking
He's still waiting for Americans to win.
in
Yeah,
Dota
that's-
2,
yeah.
it's like, well, I don't care.
I'm so mad Punk lost to Keto.
Little Majin.
Yeah,
Lil
Little Majin. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Little Majin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed him. I love the FGC.
I like how it's
people.
two
I-
Majins.
Majin Obama plays Axel.
Yeah,
Little bussy man.
I've
Love
noticed
that
like
little bussy man.
I've noticed I love like the like since I play grapplers and I love the characters. I love players I follow end up being black because I don't know what it is about grapplers and black people, but
Black people love wrestling.
I think
Fair.
Little Bussy.
fair.
I think Little Bussy Man might be biracial.
I'm not sure.
He's
I
got-
I gotta see him to like look.
He's light skinned and has a Mexican flag in his background for because he presents as black
Right.
with how he talks and like his mannerisms and whatnot. I don't. But again, of just that. Again, skin is always the like.
Yeah.
You look blackish. You're black.
Good enough for me.
Yeah.
Right. No, but yeah, that's the beauty of the FGC, and then it's
so
also
diverse.
like
I love it,
so
man.
easy
There's
to
so many
get
things-
into as well.
There's so many things where different people can connect with, and
Yeah.
that's a lot of representation. Is just
I for sure
having having an easy barrier of entry, an easy way for
Right.
people to connect with media.
I will
and
for
then-
sure tell you. I definitely try to pick if I find out like there's a fighting game that looks cool or kind of into. I definitely go and find Mexican character. If they have a Mexican
If they
character,
have one, yeah.
I'm gonna try to learn the Mexican character, even if it's not like anything that I like to play. If the Mexican character ends up being like some zoner that just like touches, like just throws knives and stuff like that, I will try to learn it, even though I fucking hate playing zoners.
That's like the exact opposite of your style, though.
Exactly, which is weird, but it's like, like I get that representation.
Right.
I have the one.
So you're gonna try that. Yeah. At least have it in the back pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That character may
that's
not
why I'm really happy.
Your main.
That's why I'm really happy that our people got Lucha Libre.
Yeah.
So well, not only Kane, but it's also like Ramon, El Fuerte, King of Dinosaurs now.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Street Fighter 4. Oh, what's his name?
El Fuerte.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking of. There's another one from.
I played Zangief, but El Fuerte was fun.
Yeah. Who was it? Was it Dead or Alive?
Huh?
Laura.
Oh, it's Brazilian.
El Blaze.
Yeah, well,
El Blaze is super
Well,
fun.
here's the thing
El
with
Blaze.
Brazilians. They love grappling. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
Oh yeah, BJJ.
I always go to the cute girl with foot stuff going on.
Fair. You do. You
Ramlethal X23.
Perfect.
As long as... Hey, dude.
He's Asian. He can't help it.
It's in my DNA.
Yeah.
For sure, we'll definitely expand on, like, race stuff and sexuality with, like, ooh, Asians, little feet and all that shit. That fucking weirdos, mandingos. But, yeah, let's, fuck. Yeah, the cool thing with Ram is just, stand up for the Browns, man. Stand up for the Browns.
Dude, I'm trying to think, like, do I have, like, a pattern with my characters? The more I think, I don't
Other than
like,
Shotos.
Yeah, like,
Maybe
it's not really that
This
because
part of
May.
boring
Maybe
ass
you
trash.
like dudes.
Well, she's...
But May!
Maybe you like little girls and dudes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a monster. Okay. Let's see. Ken, May, Lei Wulong.
Yeah. You gotta stand up for the area.
I was gonna say you love Japanese, but it's like never mind.
No.
Ken is like half American.
Yeah.
Well, he's the perfect melting pot, man.
There you
He's
go.
got a diverse roster of guys. Hold my hand
Okay.
for unity. That's not. I was hoping to interlink fingers,
Oh,
but
okay, I'm sorry.
yeah.
I got you, bro.
yeah, diversity, man. It's
Diversity.
important. And
I'm sure.
What?
Angel is
What?
Mexican
Yeah.
and she does wrestling
what's
from KOF.
Oh, I use my in KO.
how do you feel about Krillin being black?
No, Krillin is not black.
Dude,
It's Piccolo.
not yeah. My bad. My
Yeah.
bad.
I would love it. Krillin's
Krillin-
black.
no,
I like.
Krillin-
Hey, I
yeah,
cosplayed this.
I got
one
my
year.
guys mixed up. Because Krillin, he's a bald monk. He's probably Chinese.
I would love
Piccolo
Krillin's
black.
But oh no, as
Like-
Piccolo being black, I'm down for that.
Like-
I actually
'cause
prefer
a lot-
him being
'cause,
black.
Like black coded characters. Like
Yeah.
what is that exactly?
But is
Right.
he... He's not that coded black, though. He's just not white.
I think
He's just not the same skin tone as everyone else.
I think it's one of those situations.
Because he's not really coded black.
They lean to it more in the dub in the later generations just because you just kind of
Right.
see that. Like Super,
Okay.
there's
Yeah,
definitely
you-
a little bit more into it in Super.
Right, but I also think it's one of those things where the community also helps with that.
Well,
where,
because, like-
black people have kind of thought him as
Exactly,
black.
because that thing of representation of like, well, those guys aren't black, but this is the closest thing we got who's not
Right.
Mr. Popo.
Right, because like I said, I couldn't even fathom Mr. Popo being
Yeah.
black.
And that's
because
another
it was
thi- and that's
so
another thing-
off-putting.
That's another thing I've been
Yeah.
noticing.
He's not us. He's not us.
Right.
The amount of roles Zoe Saldana gets just because she's ambiguously racial.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we need a weird alien chick, Zoe Saldana.
Yeah. Like, she'll get some... I think she's played black, but she's Colombian, right?
She's not black.
Well, black Colombian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like...
The
Well, like,
best of both worlds.
she's Colombian,
So
but
that's
like
the thing with-
But she
Colombians are black.
A
Yeah.
lot of like
That makes
Afro-Cubans.
sense.
Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of Cubans who look like him, then there's a lot of Cubans who look like you.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's-
yeah.
And they will say,
It's-
no, I know black, I'm Cuban.
Yeah.
Oh, you two
Yeah.
were good.
Like
to
one,
me.
Yeah,
like,
no,
one,
no.
like one of my first friends I met in Chicago, because when I first moved to the neighborhood, it was just me and
Oh,
Right.
my
dude,
ex
that's
at the time.
that just sparked a memory for me. Like first realizing like, oh, black people aren't a monolith.
You're right.
Just when I was because we do quinceañera things also.
Really?
But like not at
Okay.
15, a little more like
So
not
not
as
a
not as
quinceañera.
gross like when you're 18.
15 is a weird age.
15
It's like,
weird
hey,
age.
That is a weird
We
age,
need
though,
to
low-key.
start finding you a husband at 15.
well, it's like
yeah.
15 we're celebrating, hey, you're fertile, you can start a
Yeah.
family if needed.
Whereas like we
Let's party and get
that
you
needs to be
pregnant.
updated.
Let's party and get you pregnant.
feel like something on the DL that most people don't know. Like Filipinos will do cotillions at 18, all that shit. So
Okay.
I've done a lot of ballroom dancing in my life.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I've done a lot of waltzes. I've done salsa. I've done so much dancing in my life that I keep under the radar.
I'm still, that makes me think. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna
But,
say
yeah.
about mitzvah, but yeah, continue.
But like my thing of just like realizing black people aren't a monolith. I went to Queens for my cousin's thing, and just I think his name was Kenny, but then spending a lot of time with this black guy for like the couple of weeks they were there. He's like, I'm not African American. I'm Haitian. Just like, oh,
I'm Haitian too, but I just that's why I call myself black.
just like and straight up, his parents were straight up for like immigrants from Haiti. So it's like, I'm Haitian, man. I'm not African American. I have no connection to like
Africa.
that
Culture,
stuff.
yeah.
It's just like I'm Haitian. I'm Haitian.
Yeah, no, I totally get that because
Like
my
or
grandma.
black. I'm black.
Yeah.
Haitian. African American. No, but black and Haitian.
That's why
like,
when we talk about it, I always say I'm black because like my grandma's Haitian, and I look at that more anyway. And then the African American thing.
Yeah, this is African American thing. So
It's a whole
fucked up.
nother thing.
It's so crazy because you remember Isra from IMS.
She's African American,
and we always
Yeah.
talked about that. I'm like, you're technically like more African American than me because you're Egyptian.
Yeah.
You're an actual African.
She's an
country.
African
Living in
American.
America.
I am an American to the fullest, where I'm like, I'm black, and like Haiti is like what I would identify as a motherland. But like I see myself as America because that's how most black people feel in America. Like we don't have a motherland usually. So it's like how you most of the stories you guys were saying was like the Cantos versus Mandos.
Yeah.
That's a motherland deal.
But, like
Your motherland is like so diluted. Like people call motherland like Africa, and granted, you can always say like, well, people either fled, got taken, or immigrated willingly to these different places.
Yeah.
But like,
no, because
your motherland is Asia because that's where your grandma comes from.
Because it's like, and that's just what? That's just 2 generations.
Yeah.
I can't go any further back than that because it's so crazy where there's slavery, like where slave masters are ripping families apart, and then there's like
giving them names that they don't actually
right. So you can't even find your historic names.
Exactly.
It gets so like you said, diluted. It's like just poisoned almost.
like the whole thing of black people in America is. Because a lot of it started around the Harlem Renaissance with Marcus Garvey and like the Back to Africa movement. Is just the thing with Africa. A lot of black Americans have no connection to Africa because like the slave owners straight up destroy that history. That history is gone. You don't know what part of Africa you came from. You don't know what tribe you came from.
And it's so
that history
far
is gone.
It's 400 years.
Like maybe you could do a 23andMe and like
you
and
just
do
heard
like
mine.
do like trace that stuff back to like a general ballpark, but you don't have that cultural connection of being passed through history of just like, oh, so those people had these customs and all that stuff. So
like, look, just like what I was saying for my 23andMe, great example. Like I'm telling you, like I know Haiti is a part of my bloodline. On my 23andMe, it doesn't say anything about Haiti because technically the Haitian part comes from the West African part.
Yeah.
So they just put, all right, that's close enough. So boom.
Also, there's like a whole thing of just because it happens around this time, Kwanzaa gets tossed in with like, oh, that's a religious holiday. Like
that's funny.
No, it's a holiday to represent like a connection to Africa and like.
We've never
like have a lot of
celebrated Kwanzaa.
Just to have like some of those customs that were taken away from us. We're trying to bring some of, but like some of those customs back to our people, even though it's still an artificial thing because we don't necessarily like. I'm saying we as in just from
No,
the
you're
Black
black
American
right
voice
now,
of just
okay, I
like,
understand.
we're trying to bring some of these customs of Africa back
Right.
and
No,
connect
totally
back to us, but we don't know exactly.
Yeah, we
so
don't have a clue.
So like
We're
lot
literally
of
taking a continent.
It's literally like Africa as a monolith. These are the traditions.
yeah. Whereas if you get an African, they're like, "What the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
All right,
What the
and
fuck is this Kwanzaa?"
remember how?
Whereas like they still have that connection of like, "Oh, I'm from Ghana. I have these
Right, exactly.
traditions. I'm from Nigeria. I have these traditions." And then like, "Hey, we're not in Ghana, Nigeria. Like,
Right,
that shit's not interchangeable, dude."
Exactly.
Which is like a similar
it's
thing.
even crazier in Africa. How many times like lines change, like how countries change,
But because of colonialism and just like
ridiculousness.
which is like similar with the Philippines of just, hey, Spain lost that war. Hey, you're part of America now. It's like, do we get a say in this? Like, nah. If you do, like, but we want to be on our own. Like, well, you're part of America now, and we're gonna kill 10,000 Filipinos who want their independence.
Yeah,
which is like, hey, fuck you, U.S. government.
Because look, they could always do like how they did the Haitian people, whereas like the Haitian people were like,
hey,
brave enough.
Filipinos got it good compared to those Caribbean countries,
which is so messed up.
Which is like, eh.
Haiti actually had the balls to like revolt and win. And became their own independent country, and they were like, "Hey, anybody want to do business with us?"
I only know.
Everybody's like, "Nah."
I only know about.
Work with you.
I only know about the Haitian.
Belgian Congo got it rough.
I only know the Haitian thing because Swans has this song called Toussaint Louverture, which I found out is the main person that led to like the Haitian Revolution and stuff like that. And that's the only reason why I know about it, because all that to me is like, know, it's non-existent. Like, we don't get taught about that.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's the one that you have to dig for, because who's gonna like want to teach that? Hey, a country actually tried to get their independence to be a democracy, and America didn't want to help because it was just a bunch of black people.
Yeah.
And America has always had this deep, like, kind of weird hatred towards blacks for some strange reason. Like, yeah, they're not going to teach that one. You gotta look that one up yourself, unfortunately.
Okay.
But it's crazy, dude. And to add on to what you were saying about the Harlem Renaissance, about how black people had to find the African thing, I think like each black generation we add something different. Where I think this generation now is understanding or is okay with just dealing with the traditions that we've made so far, like in the past like 100 years, like the Juneteenth thing, just for like example, where we're okay with like, hey, like we may have lost history, we may not go back hundreds of years like everyone else, but at least we have this last 100 and we can do something with it.
Black America has such a rich cultural history. It's like we don't have that African connection, but we made so much culture on our own.
And it's such a like brand new culture compared to like every other at once. Because it's like, hey, this was made here.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. It's like, we know where all our new history, we know where it all stems from. We can talk to that person most likely. Can
you imagine like 100 years from now, it would be like, yeah, like your great granddad was just at some weird podcast and just talked about all this shit. But it's part of tradition, so that's why we have podcasts.
Yeah, like see, that's
why we have podcast Sundays.
Right, and that's funny because like that's a very good point. That's a great point too, because like this, like 100 years, it could be seen like, oh, dude, look what your grandpa was saying like in the 20s. Isn't that crazy?
You mentioned Juneteenth, and it's a cool thing, but Juneteenth's kind of a stupid name.
There's a reason behind the name. That's another one.
But it's so stupid.
Well, think about it.
Like, let's make a weird portmanteau. It's June 19th, Juneteenth.
Yeah.
Like,
the reason why the name is weird because that's just how it was pronounced. It's just the little education things and
Yeah, I agree with both. Yeah. But like, I like the name, but you also got I think about it from like a slave point of view too. It's like, what you gonna do?
It's this really weird. It's this really weird like honoring and at the same time. It's a really weird like honoring and then like I don't know.
He's okay with slavery because he's silent.
Or choking on a whatchamacallit.
Because in white suburbia, like, like you'll hear shit like, why do the black people have like these weird names? like the classic that Cam Mitch brought up, D'Brickashaw.
D'Brickashaw.
And the whole thing of East Coast West Coast Bowl. Great sketch by Cam Mitch.
Oh god, like, I love those.
Because they do like there are
so good.
Because that's like real.
Yeah, they are kind of out there names compared to like if you look at African names and just like around the world.
Right.
But like the history of that is because the white man took their history.
Right.
So they didn't have and the whole history of slavery of like the names we had before are white names that our masters gave us. So those are labels of property rather than having their name. So the history of those weird black names is because they had the opportunity to make their own names from start. There's a beautiful history of it, of just, they just picked things that sounded phonetically cool or nice to them. And it's such a nice history that, like, white people, again, I keep throwing white. Like, again, it's not just white people, it's fucking everybody. Most Americans just shit on, of just, but even, like, Key and Peele of just, like, D'Brickashaw. That's weird. That's out. That's too much.
There's some weird names. Even black people are like, yeah, that's kind of
like
weird,
that's
dude.
too much. But like that history of just we're no longer being labeled by these masters. We have an opportunity to create something new, to start our own culture and start our own traditions. That's fucking excellent. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where it all comes from with these unique names. But of course, some of them are off the wall. Yeah. But that's the point of uniqueness.
There's a couple. I met a girl named Isis, but
but
they spelled it ECSI apostrophe.
But yeah,
see, now that's funny because I knew a girl named Isis and it was ISIS.
Because like a lot of that also is just those names trying to connect with African heritage, like Isis being an Egyptian goddess. Of just it's got great history of it.
See,
the white man
can't relate to it to that level, but the thing is like, with Mexico having like such rich history when it comes to like their native, we're just their native people and stuff like that. Like the people that my mom like grew up at, except from like Spanish, because my mom, my grandmother is like indigenous woman from like that area of Nayarit. Is they have a hot sauce name after them, Huichol.
Okay.
They're Huichol people, and we had a history, culture, and like a whole different name and different names for people as well. So like whenever like back at GameStop, whenever I had to like, there was this girl like named Xochitl. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where like, you know, like some immigrant parents want to reconnect. Right. They either want to do this thing. They want you to be proud of your heritage, or they want you to assimilate as much as possible. And I'm seeing a lot of like people like trying to reclaim their history. So I will see like I've been seeing like a resurgence of like Nahuatl names coming back. So I will see a lot of like TH sounds, a lot of TL sounds, a lot of X's putting into like a lot of Latino names. Which does make me like, it warms my heart a little bit, but I'm also like, that shit's hard to pronounce.
Yeah.
I was just going to be like, I was just going to ask that. It was like, that seems like that would be difficult to say.
Like Cuauhtemoc is like a very like popular name because it was a name of if I remember, of like emperor or something like that.
How do you spell that?
Cuauhtemoc.
Is that only happening in Mexico, like this Renaissance, or is that also happening in the States?
So this is a really weird skew for me because I'm coming from, not only come from Mexico, but like I haven't had in contact in Mexico in over 16 years.
Wow. Okay.
So this resurgence I'm seeing is different from like an American thing.
Okay. But it's happening in Mexico. Though.
Mexico is also like a thing. Like I have friends called Xochitl. I have friends like called Cuauhtemoc. Moctezuma, really weirdly. I had
any Quetzalcoatls?
No, but I did had a friend named like Cuatl. It was something Cuatl. But like I'm seeing a really weird shit where like similar to like reconnect to like the African and Egyptian, well like the Egyptian like goddess Isis. Yeah. I had to help out some dude whose name was Tlaloc. Tlaloc, like TLALOC, which is the Aztec god of rain.
Oh, okay.
So like really wish we really wish her like
Yeah,
that.
they really taking it back with those names. Those are like ancient names.
Yeah. So it's like I love like reconnection. It's like, hey, like we don't have a history. Like it's like, hey, we just want to recover our roots. We want to be able to reconnect with like what our people used to be. Right. It's like that stuff that like black people in America don't have.
Right. Exactly. And
we're just seeing the research of like that being created right now with things like Juneteenth.
Yeah. Right. And similar to that, like less Asians coming over do the fake white name thing. A little less.
Yeah, that's.
But like,
I mean, I think that's actually pretty good.
Some of those are very hard to pronounce.
Yeah,
so,
they are. But like, you can just nickname those things. You don't have to make it like.
Well, that's
which is why some people are just
a
like
race
cool
thing. That's a small little race thing I was gonna bring up because another thing I had when it comes to a race this was like back early 2000-ish, if I remember correctly. Like it's like, yeah, like what's your name, kid? It's like, oh, it's Carlos. It's like, do you want to go by Charlie to make it easy? It's like,
wait, make it easy.
Yeah, to make it easy.
Secondly, that's the same amount of effort.
But
Carlos
it's just
and
like
Charlie.
to transition into America. Having an American.
Oh, okay.
So I like looked at him and was like, no, like my name's Carlos.
I'm surprised he didn't go Carl.
I did go Carl for a little while.
That one
and
makes way more sense.
The funny thing, when I moved to Chicago, my first neighborhood I lived in was Beach and Spalding. So it was like predominantly black and Puerto Rican. I got named Los a lot. So a lot of people call me Los.
Los?
Yes.
What up, Los?
What up, Los? See, that makes sense too.
Los is +3 on block, dude. I'm using that. That's the new slang.
Yeah.
+3
on
dude, that's +3 on block, dude.
+3 on block.
Yeah.
+3 on block.
Yeah, whenever something's really good, you say it's +3 on block.
Hey, anything that's +3 on block is good for me.
Whatchamacallit, man. It's the most +3 on block candy bar out there.
It ain't better than that Twinkie I had, though.
Go stuff for that Twinkie shit.
Can I have another Twinkie?
Of course. I'm getting one, too.
I'll get you one.
Ooh, that candy bar is so satisfying, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a Twinkie party.
Yeah, it's just just these little subtle things that add up. And like in representation, just it matters so much that you don't think about. You don't think about it at all. And it's something I hate about representation is when they shove it in your face, kind of like,
we did this for you.
Like, hey, pat us on the back, everybody. Like, if you want to normalize it, just do it, and then people just see that and think it's normal.
Right.
That's how you normalize something, not like, everybody, check this out. We have a bisexual Superman. We're going to put it on our social media. Look how cool we are with bisexual. Like, if you want to normalize it, just put it in the story and just have it in there. And
I feel like a huge problem with that is just like, like, once again, with capitalism, it's like you want to be able to get those clicks, so you gotta talk about the story as fast as possible.
Yeah, that's
You have
true.
to have an appealing title. The appealing title, guess what? Bisexual Superman.
Because you're true. That's true because that shit didn't exist prior to social media. Because I remember, like, I'm really like I talk about Kate Bishop all the time with Young Avengers when that came out.
Right.
It came out in like 2005, I think. And that was pre-Twitter, pre-Facebook, pre-Instagram, and that roster of Young Avengers had, like, there was a black kid in there, and then just a gay couple as part of the team, and then it was just like, yeah, they're just there, that's normal, that's fine, it's just how it is, and just that's in the media, and then it's that kind of a homosexual relationship, and then it's just normalized because they was just put in there and treated as normal because it's just a couple that's there.
It's not a gay couple, it's a couple that happens.
Yeah, it's just, rather than like...
Right, that's not their character.
And then that was just there rather than Marvel and... This was pre-Disney days, before Marvel, like, everyone check it out, pat us on the back, we got gay characters, we got a gay character here.
We have a gay character that we can cut away for the Chinese market.
Yeah.
Right, because you know they're going to edit them out.
One of the things to run off a bat, one of my
we need a black Superman.
One of the I'd be super good with a black Superman, I think.
But the thing is,
like, I just want to see
if they do it in, like we were talking about earlier, if they do it in the right way, if they do it in a way where it's the same thing, is they just have Michael B. Jordan and they don't have it reflect a black experience at all, then what is the fucking point? Just create a new character who happens to be black.
I wanted to be Idris Elba. I just want to.
I just want to see the world.
I want to see Idris Elba more. That's just really.
That's true, but like the thing
he's
with
Knuckles. Come on,
Idris Elba, James Bond, like he's the same age as Daniel Craig. Mm-hmm. Like we need a new black hot guy.
I will like Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan, yeah. But the thing is, though, Michael B. Jordan is also
American.
He's getting up there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas like Ryan Gosling is the hot guy for our age group, but then like Zoomers think like Ryan Gosling, he's like plays dads in movies. He's an old guy.
Oh yeah, what their kid is? What's that? Timothy Chalamet or what's his name?
I fucking hate that kid.
I don't like him.
I don't like him.
But I guess that's all our age.
Dude's great.
Really, we're the old dudes now.
Like I respect him as an actor, but I don't like him as an actor.
I don't like him nor respect him.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. I don't like him.
Same thing with Tom Holland. I don't care for him.
You know, I liked him as Spider-Man.
He's wrong.
I hate him as Nathan Drake, though.
See, that's the thing. I've never seen a Spider-Man movie with him.
Oh yeah, we talked.
He's never
about
seen
that.
any movie
talk
with
about
him.
that. Yeah. But how do you feel as him as Nathan Drake?
Oh, I hated it. I hated
it.
So, oh my God.
Like Nathan Fillion's right there.
They're fucking.
That's not what they're doing. They're trying to franchise potential. Nathan Fillion's like almost 50.
Yeah.
So
there's no franchise potential with that.
He
could have
be an agent.
You gotta have a hot young guy, so maybe you could keep doing these movies for.
You're not gonna keep doing them if nobody watches it.
People.
That's the problem.
They might watch.
No, they're not.
Here's the thing. What if they like? Because they don't have a streaming service for like games or movies, what if... Because they did this with other stuff before. Like, a couple months after the movie's out of theaters, Uncharted movie for free on PlayStation Plus. Boom. They did that with Powers and...
They did do that with Powers.
Yeah. That'd be sick, man. They just...
I will watch it then. I'll watch it.
It won't make any money after
I'm gonna watch that in theaters in 4D, dude.
Do
you know about 4D theaters, right?
No.
They have like seats that move around like a roller coaster.
Where?
They vibrate. They'll have like wind blasts like come out from the back of the seat.
Where's this at?
They have giant fans like blow at
Regal.
you.
Regal North has
and AMC has something they call it D-Box, which is a terrible name. But yeah, it's called 4D, and they have like water sprays and shit.
What?
It's like that's the perfect movie to see an Uncharted with the airplane sequence.
Oh,
they're gonna be blasting you the entire time.
You
like
won't be able to hear the movie.
They'll blast so much air.
That would be cool though.
Like I thought, like
too bad I wouldn't be here.
I'm gonna bring. I should have brought a jacket, dude. We're seeing 4D Uncharted. 4D Uncharted.
I would like to see 4D.
Dude, it's cool.
How about Eternals?
Do you want to see Eternals in 4D? I want to see Eternals in 4D. The thing is, I'm not seeing Spider-Man in 4D because I want to be emotionally connected to the story.
Yes.
And I don't want that fucking just...
Wait, is that Tom Holland thing real? Like he's not Spider-Man anymore?
No, we'll see. Well, the thing is
I'm glad to hear that. I thought it was confirmed.
It's like Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., where their contracts were ending. Is like, if it ends, it ends. But then, like...
It makes sense.
They re-up their contract and stuff.
Wait, those two are coming back?
No.
Oh,
but like in the past.
Oh, in the past. Okay.
Like I'm like they're done.
They
weren't planning on going the full 10 years.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They only had like X amount of movies, and then it's like, well, we'll sign up for.
Don't they like making money?
And like Hugh
Jackman.
Yeah.
The problem is that like you get pigeonholed, and then that's all you do.
Yeah, just like I'm doing.
Well, we saw what Robert Downey Jr. did once he got out that crappy Doolittle movie. Yeah. Iron Man saved his life.
Well, he did great with the Sherlock Holmes movies.
Yeah, but also just
Doolittle though
being in a creative industry and doing the same job for 10 years, like you want to be flexible with that stuff. Like
Iron Man's so cool.
What's his face? Hugh Jackman was kind of like
he was sick of being Wolverine.
For being Wolverine, and then like. But then, like,
but those movies were like up and down with quality. I could get that.
Yeah, after Logan, he was like,
Logan was
shit, I kind of wish I was still Wolverine.
Yeah, I bet.
But
I was like, they finally learned how to make a good movie.
But again, like, he likes the character and gets it of just, like, Wolverine, like, with a superhero movie, you gotta be fresh and young and franchise potential.
You think they'll bring him back, though, for the Disney stuff? Wolverine?
No.
I would like to see him in a cameo. I would like to see him in a cameo for the
if they're doing Wolverine multiverse shit, since Disney's going full-blown multiverse with Marvel, which I'm not exactly into, like... You could have your cake and, like, here's the hot new Wolverine, and then you have Old Man Logan still show up.
That's pretty cool.
Although, I don't want that to happen.
Because they'll abuse it.
No, so because that's such a beautiful ending for Hugh Jackman's.
Well, yeah.
Keep it dead.
What I was gonna be talking about when it came to representation, we go into movies.
Oh, representation.
The thing that I hate, which is the opposite, where there's too much representation to the point where like this is just phone in and in my face.
Like the Eternals cast.
No, not talking about that. Not talking about
like. A little, like
it does feel like it.
I'm not talking about the Eternal cast. I'm talking more about like the character itself. Like for example, I will hate it when it is a Latin character, specifically Mexican. They have fire powers because we're fire. We got the anger thing.
Like a Suicide Squad.
Their name is like some shit like El Fuego or Diablo.
And then which is Suicide Squad.
And then it's some dumb bullshit like they sort of like they will throw in like a Spanish word every so often in the middle of the thing.
Hey chica.
It's like, hey chica, watch this. Boom. Yeah, it hasn't been this hot since my abuela who used to cook for me.
Yeah.
Like when it gets to that, when it gets to like that point, I'm like, I hate it. I much rather not have a Mexican character.
So I'm glad you said that because you know how cringy that is when I see that stuff. I'm like, I know it's not for me, but I
hate it with passion. And the worst thing about it is like,
I'm so glad they don't do that shit for Asian characters.
I hate it because then like there will be like these other like
because we get
like outlets will be like this is a win for us. Where it's just like the most shitty represented character you can have.
Dude, the thing is like,
but when it's like so comically like overdone, like El Porte has one of the worst representation things, but he's so funny that I just can't take him seriously, and I love him.
The thing is with representation in Western media is. You got to take those wins where you could get them.
Yeah.
Because in Hollywood, like we talked about earlier, Asians aren't a monolith, and like that's only a Western thing of like rooting for Asians because that's all we have, and it's all about taking the wins where we can. Whereas, like a lot of Asians back in the old countries, they hate other Asians, but in Hollywood, we're still at a point where Asians are completely interchangeable, and that's like a whole thing with. The cast of Crazy Rich Asians. Like, no, they're supposed to be a specific Asian, but then it's like, alright, we'll get a Korean to play this guy, we'll get a Japanese guy to play Korean, or Korean guy to play Japanese. But it's like, we're not at that point yet, so we have, like, we'll get those wins where we can.
Right.
And, like, another thing with that sort of thing is Henry Golding being the main character of that movie, being the main character of the Snake Eyes movie, and just, like, being an Asian lead. He's half white and he looks clearly half white, and he has a lot of the handsomeness to him is like the white features to him, like the white bone structure. Whereas like Stephen Yeun, he's a pureblood and he's a good looking dude, man.
So
we need more good looking purebloods out on
talking about Stephen Yeun. I finally watched Minari. I fucking cried.
Yeah, dude, I have that locked and loaded. Yeah, and even like. The co-star for the Snake Eyes movie, Andrew Koji, he's half British, but he looks more Asian than Henry Golding.
Okay.
Which is kind of why I feel like Henry Golding having more white features is getting more leading roles.
You already know.
For sure. Whereas Andrew Koji, he's the co-star, he's of the movie. Like he's half white and like he has more Asian features, but a lot of it's like he still has like some white bone structure. He has like white height to him. And then, you know, his leading role is on a Cinemax show that may or may not get renewed for a third season. And he's like the bad guy for the Henry Golding movie. It's just like, we're not quite there yet. But we'll take the wins. We'll take the wins where we can. Yeah, that's like a thing.
When it
comes
to representation,
so huge Filipinos showing up for like Korean guys in media. It's like, we're not gonna get a. Well,
that's the funny thing.
We're not getting
like,
Filipino representation.
Latino apparently the least represented people in media. But that's because a lot of like Asian representation comes from stereotypes from like kung fu and a bunch of other things.
Right. Because like, you know, like kind of. Going back a little bit, like when it comes to representation of Latinos, before I knew stuff, I always thought of like Latinos as like light skinned people.
Yeah.
So like when I saw light skinned people, I always thought like, oh, okay, well that's like they're like one of us. So that's representation for you guys too. Which I guess in some weird ways it is. It's not like a perfect fit, but in some weird ways, like especially if you're like an urban like Latino, that's like
that's what you get.
Right, that's what you get. Like, and I don't want to be like that. That's good enough.
Yeah,
but like, that's the thing. That's what you got.
That's what you got, man.
Yeah.
Like Jackie Chan, he's Chinese, man, but I'm still like, yes.
Yeah, I love it. I love that cartoon Jackie
Anime.
Chan Adventures.
Yes.
Oh man,
like take that win because Filipino representation, we got a singing boxer who's also a politician
and a homophobe.
who compared gay people to dogs. And then
that's just a Street Fighter character, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's like a combination of Balrog and G. Yeah. But and then in the most recent and most popular thing is The Good Place. Yep. But then, like I mentioned, Filipinos are fuckboys.
So fucking
gorgeous. That show just represents Filipinos as fuckboys. These stupid characters of just like.
What's it called? The Good Place?
The Good Place. It's really funny. It's really good.
Yeah, so he's just like this dumb bimbo who's into the Jacksonville Jaguars because he's like a dumb Floridian guy. But then when they show his like crew of friends and his family, it's like, oh, they're also just being represented as stupid Filipino fuckboys, which I 100% understand where that stereotype comes from because
isn't that Filipino guy called Justin, right?
No, I don't know. Jason is his character.
Jason.
Yeah.
The character's name is Jason. He's Manny.
Is anything wrong?
Manny something.
Is something wrong with him in the show?
He's just very.
He's
stupid.
just really.
He's just so.
No, he's
I
just
thought something was like wrong with him.
No. He's just
an idiot.
He's just an idiot.
Wow.
He's just a fucking idiot.
Oh, I thought like I saw a highlight of him.
And then everyone in his crew is also like all the Filipinos are just stupid fuckboys.
He's so fucking gorgeous. He's so fucking gorgeous.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I thought it was like maybe. He's
but that Filipino representation of like we got that like the best television representation we have is just the stupid fuckboy. God damn it!
The big thing,
and then even before that. Like, the show wasn't as popular as The Good Place. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Like, the Filipino guy, he was he wasn't as stupid. You can't be as stupid as Jason. But, like, he was kind of like another fuckboy. Just like, God damn it, man.
Yeah, that's rough.
We're also nurses. Throw that in TV. Throw that in TV.
The Good Place does this.
Yeah, just like, fuck.
The Good Place does this thing where it's like, hey, this is just a character that just happens to be Filipino. Or this character just happens to be from Senegal, or this like Indian woman that just happens to be British and happens to be kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
Or like Tahini's Ray, but she's kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like all the characters are likable.
She's rich enough to. Yeah, Good Place is a good show.
Yeah,
it's just like that nitpick of.
It just happened to be that way. They accidentally.
Like the stupid bimbo guy happens to be Filipino, and then there's like. But then he is, like, his whole crew is just like, oh, fuck.
It's just fucking stupid.
They're like, because he's also into, like, I'm in a dance crew, and, like...
Oh, wow.
So, like, that Filipino fuckboy who's the majority of Filipinos at UIC.
It is...
Like, you've hung around UIC, you've met those guys.
I work with those.
Yeah, I work there.
I work with those Filipinos.
Okay, I fucking hate those guys so much. Just, why can't you be, like...
Why can't you be normal?
Why can't you just be sad and indie like me and my brother?
Why can't you just
be like us, normal?
Why can't you be beat him up and sing about it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, I'm gonna learn how to play ukulele and try to impress girls.
Fucking hit the ukulele.
Like,
you know, motherfuckers.
We're like my brother's like doing math course shit.
Talking about. Motherfuckers will refuse to wear a mask in a public place. Will fucking play a ukulele in public.
Yeah.
They just don't have respect for human life.
I fucking hate white people, man. I fucking hate white people. No, because the worst thing is, like, whenever you see, like, Polynesian or, like, whenever you see, like, Islander or, like, Polynesian people play ukulele, they fucking shred that shit. But I'm just singing about this breakfast I had.
I learned how to play for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's represent...
Yeah, it's like...
Me...
backwards. Like, that's the only thing I can say for like
it's hard
Asian
to
representation.
So like I'll take those wins, man.
Yeah.
It's Shang-Chi. Like Filipinos are ass on TV, but I'll take Shang-Chi, man.
It's hard. Representation is just hard to get in general, but being able to get some, it's super important. Yeah. Like I remember talking to my friend. She's Nigerian, and I just saw, and she loves the gay boys.
Is she a hag?
No. She's part of the community too.
Okay.
But she loves the gay boys. But like, I'm just saying that because like yaois, they're pretty much it. Whatever. Anyways, there's a new gay swimming anime coming up, and they have a half Nigerian character in there. So I just showed them in their face, like, you just show me this because I'm Nigerian. If I was at first, I would say yeah. I wouldn't.
Of course.
I was like, no, it's like, do you show me this because they're black? It's like, yeah. And also Nigerian. It's like, oh, okay.
Filipinos,
now I'm paying attention to this anime because there's a Nigerian character.
Filipinos do that all the time. Like, hey, Bruno Mars, huh?
Bruno Mars?
Like, taking the wins we could get. Like, hey, like, there's the...
Wait, Bruno Mars is
he's
half?
I don't
half,
think
I
Bruno...
think?
No,
Is
I
he?
don't think Bruno Mars is...
There's someone who's
Filipino.
half.
There's somebody who's half.
There's someone who's big who's half.
Yeah.
Or somebody like, hey... Like,
Hey,
Filipinos will do that all the time. They're just like, hey, dude, this guy, he's half Filipino. Like,
One
let's
of
take that,
us.
let's take that dub, man. Let's take that dub.
That is so
One of
real,
us.
too.
And,
He's
yeah.
Hawaiian.
He's Hawaiian? There's no Filipino at all.
Like, it's
P.
just...
Gene Hernandez. Let me...
Hernandez. He's
Could be one of
Hernandez.
us. Could be one of us.
Nah, Hernandez. We got Hernandez
Well, we
too,
know
bro.
he's one of us.
We got Hernandez too.
We see his skin color.
You know what I love about representation?
Well,
We get to
Anderson
fight
Paak.
about it.
ooh,
And
yeah.
who?
Anderson Paak.
Oh, yeah.
Embracing, like,
The weird shit
I'm
that
part
he
Korean,
is.
bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That
I'm
dude's
embracing
part
that
Korean?
part. Yeah, man.
He's amazing.
Paak's a Korean name.
You're right. I just
Yeah.
thought it was one of those, like, Tekashi 6ix9ine.
No.
Were you-
Yeah, where he's, like, not
I love
black
the,
or Asian.
Right. I thought it was
Were you
like
knew
that.
that his band is named the Hooligans? I'm looking at Bruno Mars' Wikipedia
Bruno Mars?
page.
Huh.
What's the band he has with Anderson Paak? But, like, that's something so cool of just being a black guy in R&B and hip-hop. Just definitely, like, a Tiger situation. Play the black card. But he's like, no, man. My mom's Asian. I want to represent that part of myself. And, like,
But did he,
represent the community.
But did he always represent the Asian community the whole time?
I think so. I don't know.
And
man.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Tiger was like,
Oh.
I'm just black.
We're both wrong.
What?
He's half Puerto Rican
Ah.
and half Jewish.
Ah.
He one of us.
Oh,
Okay. This song.
his
This
mother,
song.
this mother immigrated from the Philippines to Hawaii.
Oh, this
Fuck
guy
yeah.
knew it.
There you
Yes. Yeah, dude.
He is the
I know,
melting
man.
pot. He
I
is the
know.
melting pot.
I know, bro.
You knew.
Filipino.
You
Yeah.
definitely knew.
Filipinos are like, eh, we gotta move.
Dude,
Like Rob
listen.
Snyder.
I didn't even
Everyone
know
else,
that.
Yeah.
Like, do you know Pablo Torres? He's a ESPN like analyst.
No.
He's Filipino, and man, he's the same way. I'm like, wow, that must be real. Then.
dude, it's a huge thing with the
that
Filipino
has to be
community.
because he's always happy too. Like he found out, oh, it was an NBA player that was half Filipino. And he ended up playing for the Filipino national team.
Because we're
Black
LatAm
guy.
looking as fuck,
Yeah.
bro. So we'll take the Asian representation we can get.
Y'all really do.
Well, especially when it's specifically a Filipino.
gotta
Pinoy, we gotta embrace that
You
shit.
gotta run
gotta
that car
embrace
as
that
much
shit,
as you
man.
Oh
can.
no,
Yeah.
I totally see. Oh,
Just for that.
and I want to add earlier when we were talking about Asian representation in comedy, in Living Color, Steve Park. That was like one of the first Asian guys.
I never watched that, man.
You've never seen In Living
No,
Color?
well,
It's
I've seen
hilarious.
it, but
It's
I've
hilarious.
seen clips.
I watched that first because
Yeah.
once again growing up in Mexico and just falling in love with like funk music and just like black culture, it was just like I want to watch Living in Color.
Dude, In Living Color.
I'm gonna watch.
Legends everywhere.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Who's the guy, by the way?
misremembering. I watched Luther too a lot.
Steve Park?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I thought you
Yeah.
were showing me the Filipino.
No, this is.
Yeah, I'm like, that guy's Korean, dude.
No, I'm just saying the Asian
Okay,
representation
yeah.
in the comedy. But
And Jim Carrey, dude.
wait.
In Living
Jim
Color.
Carrey.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were saying that he was part Asian. I was
Representate.
like,
No.
Yeah, it's
He's
pronounced
Canadian.
Carey.
Jim Carrey.
But here's the thing: representation on all black shows. See,
Yeah.
Exactly.
you got
man.
James Carey, as they call him.
Because they
They call him James
because
Carey on the show. That's funny.
because
Weird
it's a
question
show
for
made
y'all.
by minorities and they get it, like that representation is important.
Right.
Like
Weird question for y'all, since we're talking about like this Mexican kind of deal, and we all have been single at one point. Has there ever been like a situation where it's like, oh, you're Asian, I kind of want you just because you're Asian. Oh, you're black, I kind of want you because you're black.
I've actually, you know what? I've had this conversation. This has never personally happened to me because I'm not dark enough. But this has happened to my friends a lot, and this happened a lot while like I was college age, where it's like the Mandingo effect, where it's like, oh, I want you because you're so like so dark and black and whatever. So I know the slave like mentality thing. I'm like, my skin was a little too bright for that, so I never got that.
You're not, you know.
I'm not dark enough, but I did get the.
You're not threatening enough,
right? Exactly.
There's no danger,
which is even way messed up when you think about it, because that's what they mean too. But it was even crazier because there were girls that got to know me in college, and they were like, "Oh, well, I didn't like black guys before, but." I've gotten
that a lot, but that was whenever when I was single and I started when I was exploring more my sexuality and stuff like that. I got that a lot from like men in general, like the gay, like for all intents and purposes, I love being part of the gay community. But the gay community, that's one of the things. Yeah. The gay community very much, and also like when dating, like a lot of people expecting to be a good dancer. I'm an okay dancer, but people were thinking I was gonna bust out the moves.
Right.
But like, yeah, I love like gay white men, just full on like just seek me out or just completely avoid me just because I'm Mexican.
Because
I'm Mexican. Yeah.
I've gotten like, ooh, I like almond eyes.
Almond eyes.
I like almond eyes.
I've never heard of that.
It's the whole thing. It's coded for like, I like
slanted eyes.
Just like, ooh, Asians exotic.
Oh, they just
that's time to plug in your hashtag.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe for we'll because we're going balls deep on representation. We'll get into like language.
3 hours,
yeah. But hashtag take back slant. His guys, they got the cool board. With the end guys got their cool board.
The end guys. That's even worse.
It starts with
Asians.
It rhymes with gamer.
Yeah. Asians, we need to appropriate something, take it back, and I think slant is a cool sounding word. It's short, it's brief, it's got like it starts with an S. It's quick. Slant. Take back slant. Got it. Like, dude.
That's a play in football. Slant play.
Like,
y'all gotta get it back.
Is there many Asian American football players?
Do you count Samoans as Asian?
No.
I don't think Asians count them. They're Islanders. Yeah, let's because
it depends on
the paperwork. It says Asian / Pacific
that's
Islander.
Why I asked.
So they count, man. So Jeff Cobb, Asian. Tamatonga and Tangaloa, Asian, bro. Hell
if they count, does that make
does that make the Rock Asian?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's Samoan, right?
Yeah,
there you go.
He half Asian, half black.
But yeah.
But yeah, if you count
The Rock is a great example. We gotta talk about The Rock.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, but yeah, if you count them, then yes, they're actually like a good amount of Asian.
I'm very familiar with Samoa. Just taking a huge chunk of the NFL.
The Rock is maybe the best thing to happen to representation in Hollywood.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, because like, oh shit, the biggest movie star is this racially ambiguous guy who's half Asian and half black, but he, unlike other guys, he doesn't lean one way or the other.
He doesn't lean on any
So it's like,
because he's the Rock, he has his own.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He's the Rock, so it's like,
and that's cool.
So it just sets up this standard of just non-white people being a star, and we have that vagueness of just like, it's a win for everybody. It's like this POC. It's an example of the rising POC. Tide raising all ships. Of just like, oh yeah, like cool guy.
Yeah,
cool guy.
He's.
So I don't know what he is. I don't know what to hate him for, but I don't know what to like him for either.
Right, exactly.
But like, yeah, okay, he's the Rock.
He's not a POC. He is the
POC.
You like POC?
Yeah, it's the reason he's called the People's Champ.
Yeah, so. He's the People's. The Rock really is the People's Champ, man.
Yeah, he earned that nickname.
God bless him.
I hear him in his rap verse with Tech Nine.
Where he raps.
He has
from
one
like
verse.
The 90s?
No, like, well, he has a rap, like a really weird like rap song in like a WWE like cassette tape.
Yeah, like a,
Well, like
I know about that one.
So Tech Nine released a song not long ago, with a bunch of verses, and The Rock has a verse.
Nice.
It is so bad.
Is it an original verse or is it from the cassette?
It is an original verse.
Okay.
It might have been written by him, but knowing The Rock, he probably wrote it himself.
Exactly.
It is so bad, but you know it's The Rock. He gets a pass.
Yeah, he put his soul into it, so you know his effort.
He does a lot because it's like Face Off, I think, or Mask Off. I forget what the name of the song is. Mm-hmm. But in the video he does this motion a lot, like tearing up the face.
Ripping his face off.
Yeah.
Well, that reminds me. Another cool biracial guy, Vin Diesel.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. He's half.
Whatever.
Because I always
he's half Italian and
I thought of him as white for the longest time.
Nah.
But that man.
Well, here's the thing with because he used to be a b-boy, and then also the what got him noticed by Hollywood, specifically Steven Spielberg, is he made an independent short called Bifacial, which was about him like dealing with being biracial.
Never knew that. Wow.
Yeah. Like, that indie got him noticed by Steven Spielberg, who put him in Saving Private Ryan, and then his career launched from there, man. Forgot he was in that. Yeah, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, he has
a really weird track record of movies.
Yeah. Yeah. He gets so much shit, but, like...
And he's a good gambler.
And he plays into, like, just... the musclehead big franchise guy.
He plays but, like,
he's a
huge fucking dweeb.
He's a huge nerd, and he's also insightful about, like...
And he's good at making games.
Shit,
like those Riddick
The Riddick games,
the
yeah.
PS2 ones are so good.
That's why he leans so much into sci-fi, because that's what he likes. That's what he's into.
That's why he keeps making those shitty action movies, because this is stuff I like, and I have the money to make this movie I have fun with.
Like I believe a huge chunk of his movies when he's playing the characters, like I am playing my rogue warrior with some levels into arcanist,
right?
And he just gets into it.
And kind of like he's in a position of just. He could just have fun and do the dorky shit he wants to do.
The point of making all that money.
Yeah,
you know who does that? I just found out. Have you seen Bly Manor, like Hunting the Bly Manor? I think so. Bly Manor and Midnight Mass.
Yeah.
Rahul I can't pronounce his name, but he's an Indian. He's a Indian Pakistani, I think.
Oh, the handsome sheriff.
The fucking handsome ass sheriff.
He's
a huge fucking dork. He just came out like Kojima likes him a lot, but like I found it through TikTok. It's one of those like split videos. So it's like the pretty girls just been, oh my god, that's so cool, and he's just like swinging around a lightsaber.
Yeah. See, this is.
So I found his TikTok and I looked at more stuff. He has straight up a Gundam Thunderbolt like he's building in the background.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Is it Atlas? Is he building Atlas?
He's building the Verka version of Thunderbolt. Like the one with the shields and everything.
Which one? Oh, no. Okay, yeah. I got you. Yeah. The full armor.
Full armor. Yeah.
Yeah. I go by the proper names for these mobile suits, okay?
Whatever, man.
Full armor. Master grade.
But no, he has like the Verka one, and he also has like the Gundam shoes. Like he's a full nerd.
Hell yeah. Dude, I gotta follow this guy on Instagram. This is great representation of just... Rather than the Daisy being like the dork, the nerdy guy, like we got a handsome guy as sheriff. Hell yeah! But it gets into a whole thing of like beauty standards and that sort of thing in Hollywood. That's a different conversation. Yeah. Well, like of course the handsomest of the handsomest.
Right, because I think we spoke on that before, like how like a white dude doesn't have to be like the ultra supermodel.
Yeah.
And he can still kind of make us like a career in Hollywood, but like the top 1% of each other race has to make it.
We're getting there though. Like Brian Tyree Henry was like, all right, we got a pudgy black guy. Yes. That's a win.
This is the TikTok I found him through, and then I just started following him. And yeah, they show more stuff about his house. And it's like, he just has like a chill of nerd memorabilia.
Have you heard about the Timothy Chalamet thing?
I don't care. So
we don't care about
that. Well, with Timothy Chalamet, somebody found an old YouTube channel of his where...
And he's being racist.
No.
He's reviewing
he made custom 360 controllers.
Oh.
So people would send him in, he'd do paint jobs and shit. Yeah, he'd make custom 360 controllers, and people just
He has mounted lightsabers.
Oh, he's got Grogu?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Baby Yoda's name now?
Are you not caught up on Mandalorian?
No, I don't watch it. My sister does.
What is wrong with you, dude?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Is it because you hate Latinos? Do you hate Latino? You don't like the idea of Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian?
Dude, I only date Latin women, so...
Yeah. But
I don't
again,
mean
like
to.
yeah,
That totally accidentally happened.
I've gotten that because my girlfriend currently has a track record of Latino men. I'm just like, is that a thing for you? It's like, no, it just happens to be that way.
Yeah, like it just happens.
again, POCs not a monolith. Some of the most racist shit I've heard about Latinos was by black people on the CTA.
Oh, I can definitely.
Yeah, it's just like, hey.
Like I said, I've heard like a bunch of off-pocket things, and the thing, this is a thing that we're talking about on the way over here. Like, no, in Monolife, a lot of like white woke people, they assume that because you're of color, you're gonna be liberal or you're gonna be a Democrat. Where like a lot of people of color lean very heavily to like Republican scanners with a smaller government, having a smaller government, having these values. But it's like, hey, like the Republican Party are very well known to just be explicitly racist. So like that's why I don't go for it.
Right.
Unless you're Cuban.
Yeah.
They love the Republican Party.
They fucking love the Republican. Why? Because those Cubans are white.
I get it.
I thought it's because they hate anything that if you even mention the word socialism, they'll go against
it's a similar thing with the Philippines' relationship to communism.
Oh,
like all the Filipinos who come here,
like the OGs, are like
are hard anti-communism because
which makes sense.
They come from a time when
communism
and still
basically it's like hey like
also like. China will arm and fund communist separatist movements and militias in the Philippines. Like, my dad grew up like, can't go to the mountains. That's where the communist militia lives.
Oh, it's like gangs.
So, exactly. And, like, they kind of lost the point of communism where they pretty much are gangs that, like, run extortion rackets on, like, construction crews and shit.
I totally forgot you're supposed to be, like, a flat, like...
It's no longer about, like, redistributing the wealth.
Yeah, but, like...
It's just more of a, hey, we're just gonna rob you.
Right, we got the power of, like, the big communists.
Also with, like, Chinese expansion into the South China Sea and they're just, like, aggressive economic policies and also just... Like, I get why they're just, like...
But you know what I also, how I compare it, like how our future's going to be? Yeah. We're totally going to be like the opposite, but with like capitalism, where we're going to just like hate capitalism so much because in our lifetime, capitalism has like not done us any favors really, other than like the traditional like free market stuff.
You can pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Like, that crap.
It's going like...
We bailed out the banks, but the government won't bail out the students. So like all these levels of things that capitalism is supposed to be helpful about has not helped millennials at all. So that's why it's going to be a bunch of like socialist millennials, like in the 30s and 40s.
And then it's going to swing hard the other way.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's going.
Which is like we need
because the generation after us is going to be like, all right, well, that's too much. Helping each other.
We need the Avatar to bring balance.
The balance to the economy.
It will bring all the races, black, Mexican, Asians.
Well, that's the thing. Why it is our duty as POCs to fuck and impregnate white women.
Oh, but they're so
white people are the only people who could be fucked off the planet.
That is true.
That is true.
That is very true.
It is our duty as race men to fuck white women and just eliminate the human race. Which is part of why, like, there's that fear of miscegenation. Because white people know. They know they can be fucked off the planet.
That's a whole nother issue. Like, you just kind of, like, brought up. Like, I don't know. All jokes and fun is, we should just fuck white women, nothing else. That is very pervasive. It's like, hey, maybe you should not date black women. Maybe you should not date Latina women or Asian women. Like, why don't you...
Just push everybody to the mess.
Yeah,
and that
seemed like a thing. Because I remember before I moved to Chicago, I was like at a house party somewhere, and we were just talking, and I found out this black dude I was talking to, they were from Chicago. I was like, hey, like, and it's like, oh shit, like I'm moving to Chicago. Like, oh shit, like why? It's like, well, because like my girlfriend lives over there, and I kind of want to move over there. It's like, is she black? It's like, no, I wish she was. And we just like all tracked up and stuff like that, and then it's like, no, but what is she like then? What is she though? It's like, no, she's white. It's like, oh man, congrats. And it's like, what? I was like, bro, what?
That sounds so accurate. Yeah. I can totally see that. Yeah. Like, congrats, bro. Yeah. Hold it to white. Yeah. Hold it to the white man. But I was gonna add on to the Latin part about
Can I just ask something?
What?
Because
Why?
How do you feel about the term race man? I like that term.
What?
I'm glad it's not a thing anymore.
Race
well,
man?
it's
What's a race? And why don't Asian?
it's something that I
guys?
think it hasn't been around since maybe the 60s or 70s. But like a race
gosh.
man, like Marcus Garvey was a race man. Dave Chappelle's a race man. Like that sort of idea of somebody who is an activist for their race, and then
I happily wear the car race man.
Race man. I love the idea of just like I'm a race man.
I'm a race man.
It makes me
I think about my people, and I try
This
to
is the
promote
Race
my
Man
people.
podcast.
It makes me feel the race man.
Okay.
Yeah, see, that's the new name of the podcast. It's called Raceman. Welcome to the Raceman podcast.
I like the term race man because it makes me feel like a Mega Man boss. That's like a car.
You're just a car.
No, it is a
He's a
F1
rainbow
car.
person.
It is an F1. It's a robot that turns into an F1 car, but it has a Mexican flag on it, and that is my race man.
Why Mexican?
Lewis Hamilton.
It's a Mexican.
Great representation.
Oh, yeah, it adds on to the Raceman part.
Yeah.
I just threw away that part.
Yeah.
Still, I was just thinking about NASCAR the whole time after.
Dude, like another
Checker
thing.
flag, all that.
Yeah, ask your mom if the term race man
I'm totally gonna ask.
was around when she was younger. Just because, George Washington Carver's a race man.
Yeah, I'm gonna totally
It's
ask.
just like somebody who was
Raceman.
an activist in promoting and
race.
uplifting
That's
their race.
I totally be a
that's
race man.
such an old timey
I know.
term.
It's like Ofe, man.
I
It says.
love it.
Do you have you know the term Ofe?
No.
Okay, because like my Harlem Renaissance class, just like knowing all these outdated terms. Like Ofe is a white person. Just like the fucking Ofes, man.
Ofe?
I have no idea the origin of or root of the word, but it's just
Is it like hunky?
it's OFAY Ofe.
Talking about
love
Ofe,
it.
talking about white
Like
Ofe,
Ofes.
like terms for white people.
I like round eye.
This one
As
when we
an
were talking
Asian,
about
we got
when this was back at the time where like Pokemon Sun and Moon were coming out. And if you all don't know, Pokemon Sun and Moon is very heavily leans into like Hawaiian Polynesian culture.
Yep. Gen 7.
This
Tour of the islands, bro.
this woman and her mom, this girl and her mom comes in, and we're talking about it like, and she's like super. It's like, hey, like my kid wants to buy the new Pokemon game. Like I don't know which one it is. It's like, oh, Pokemon Sun and Moon. It's Pokemon Sun and Moon. It's like, what is it about? It's like, oh, it's Pokemon. Are you familiar with it? Like, yeah, you gotta catch them. So like, well, yeah, you catch them. You go to these different islands. It's more like based off of Hawaii. So like, you're gonna see like a bunch of different terms. And she's like, oh, like we're from Hawaii. Like.
Oh,
That's so
okay.
funny, and so we're able to like talk about that, and it's like, what's this? Like, she sees a character named Howie, which is like just a Hawaiian looking character. It's like, what's this character's name? Like, he looks like he's from Hawaii. It's like, oh, he's Howie, and she laughs. It's like, Howie? It's like, yeah.
It's actually How.
How?
H-A-U.
How?
How. Yeah.
Is that what
He's
you
the
laughed?
buddy character.
Yeah,
right?
he's about
Yeah.
how. It's like, really, it's like, she starts laughing. It's like, what's up? It's like, how? It's like, is that funny? It's like, that's a reference. It's like, how is how we call white people?
Really?
Because it's like, because when they first come over to like the islands, our ancestors thought they were spirits, so we call them without breath, so they were how, because they were so pale. And it was like, oh,
It is a ghost type. But
No,
how
No,
is just
How's
your
a guy.
character? It's just
Oh,
a guy.
okay.
He's the rival best
And
friend
then we
character.
would start
okay.
and then we would start like talking about like how we call different white people, and then I said like, yeah, it's funny because like in Spanish we call them güeros and gringos. So it's like, oh yeah, I know about those
gringos,
words, and we start talking about that, and then a white person comes in and we both stay quiet and we look at each other and we start giggling.
Yeah.
And now that white person knows how all
we
the
knew.
Yeah.
people of color have felt when
Yeah.
that person did it to everybody else.
Yeah.
Dude, if you ever hear a Filipino say itim,
Itim? No.
itim,
What's that?
black.
Oh, that's the
No, that's black. Itim.
Itim.
Itim. Yeah, and puti is white. Just because
Puti,
it's not
itim.
like slang, it's just those are the words for the colors.
Oh, okay.
Same
Itim.
thing with same thing in Spanish is negro.
Yeah, well, yeah. I
Yeah,
know that,
negro. But like, if they really want to get into you, they will say they will call you mayate.
Oh,
Dude,
A mayate, it is a little black stink bug.
Jesus Christ.
fun little
Why the
thing.
book got to be part of it?
Fun little moment working at GameStop.
Did you all both work at the same GameStop?
Briefly,
Yeah.
and I've
Oh,
helped
okay.
out at shifts.
I
at
was
his time. He trained me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was their assistant manager for like maybe a month at
Okay.
the most.
Just that, like, POCs aren't a monolith, but since there are so many crossovers in experience,
Right.
like especially if we're in a melting pot country like America, it's just there's so many ways we could connect and communicate with each other. Like one time, so the Chicago Marathon was going on. Our store was kind of West Loop.
Okay.
So this one guy, Black, was late to work because he wanted to. He had to cross the marathon.
Okay.
So, you know, like no one was there for like how the marathon works. It's just like there's no one here for blocks and blocks, and he's like talking to the cop, like, "Hey, can I just? I mean, I work right there, man. Can I just cross?" He's just like, "No, I'm not gonna let you cross, man." And then he like when he got to work, he was telling us that story. And we were working with Will of the Nerdington Post. He's a white man.
A white man.
He's a white man from the South.
Paulo said he couldn't be part of this one.
Yeah. White man, you don't have to be a part of everything. But like,
let us race man.
He was talking about. He was telling us that story. He was like, "Yeah, the cop was just being a dick to me." I was like, did this hand gesture of just doing this with like, huh? And then, like, me and him both, it was like, yeah, probably. And we both start cracking up. And Will was just like, what's going on? What are you guys doing? And then we start laughing even harder because it's like,
I forgot
this guy.
I forgot what the conversation I was having with one of my regulars that it happened. I forgot what the conversation was. I think we were talking about some like social media thing about being like black, like just being racial in America, and we ended up like turning to each other like. And I just track up one, which I never usually do because I try to be as professional as possible. It's like, I just told him, like, man, white people are fucked up sometimes. And I was like, and we just start cracking up. It's like, yeah, they are. And we just had like a more little like rant about it. Well, I had my white employee in the back. Yeah, me, the boss, talking about
right. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, they were, for my store for a while, they were the minority.
That's good.
Yeah.
As they should be.
About time.
Had the gayest and brownest store in the district.
Hell yeah, dude.
And then I left.
Oh, man.
This has been
so
a
beautiful.
good, long-ass conversation
Yeah,
we
man.
had.
There's so much that's to be said, man. But
I know.
look,
we can save it for next time.
did we solve racism
No.
internationally? No. Did we solve it in America? Yes.
Yeah.
We brought people together. Racism's done.
We're banned from China.
Kamala Harris is in the White House. Like, racism's over with in America. We're done. We solved it, and it's thanks to us, the best damn race podcast, period.
We're the racemen.
We're the racemen. We're racemen.
Yes.
We're racemen. We're racemen.
We're the racemen. We'll see y'all next time.
Hell yeah. I should put my Malcolm X poster back up in my room.
You should.
Yeah.
It's a good poster.
I know, right? I'm sorry. Malcolm Shabazz poster back in my room.
There you go.
Because Malcolm X, there's a whole thing. We'll get into it, maybe.
You'll see it next episode.
We'll buy some bean pies and...
Oh, yeah, we still have to.
We'll buy some bean pies and talk about other topics regarding race. And
Islam right down the street.
And, of course, we're going to touch back on representation again, because it all flows together, man.
Right.
It's all a messy stew of oppression and histories of colonization and all that stuff. And just, you know, people being people, which is shitty to each other.
Yeah.
But then also coming together. Like Dave Chappelle and his Filipino wife.
He does have a Filipino wife.
Yeah.
He's a race man, dude. He's
definitely
always
a
looking
race
out
man.
for his race.
He definitely does.
But that's a whole other thing.
That's
Maybe
a
we'll
whole
get
other thing.
That
into
could totally
it.
be a whole different thing.
You know, it's not binary. You could support communities and be a fan of a figure at the same time. It's not all or one.
Yeah, that's the problem. People think it's all or nothing.
It's really hard. The thing is, it's like really hard to have that conversation when you already know, like, you already enjoy that. So it's like you already make the assumption, oh, you're this, and that. Where like you can observe from a critical lens. And I feel like as a fan of anything, you should be able to do as a fan, as a fan of anything, you have to analyze things from a critical lens.
Yeah.
But there's certain things like, as a parent, you can be like, that's just does not align with me and what I am right now.
We have personal biases, and I can't believe we went like over 3 hours without bringing up the word bias at all yet, which is how rich of a topic race is.
Right, like, it's extremely rich.
So, boy. But yeah, the race men will see you next time. This should be our sign off.
Race man.
Race men.